You got the Crocs, you son of a bitch. All right, welcome to episode 229 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me this week, we have Steven.
Hello, the last one of the month.
Yeah, finishing up July. It is the San Diego Comic-Con weekend, which I'm going to try really hard to actually get to go to next year. I'm looking to see about our staying arrangements and then getting tickets and stuff like that. So fingers crossed I can actually make it again next year, which will be the first time since 2011. I think it was 2010 and 2011 were the last two times I got to go. So I would greatly enjoy getting to go this time with some friends, and we'll see if who can meet up for that. Would you be down, Stephen? Would you want to go to Comic-Con with us?
With the bonus that you said that we would have, yes, I would like to try.
So
Because that would take a huge chunk of the expense.
Yeah, if this works out, my boss, like my boss's boss's boss, like owner of the company, has a place right near where San Diego Comic-Con is, and he offered to let me use it for free if I went. So if that's still on the table, that covers the cost completely of a hotel, which is thousands of dollars.
Yeah, because as soon as you let me know that, then I will seriously look into tickets.
Yeah. Plus, like if it's truly close enough where it's not that bad, we can get groceries and eat there, which that also saves an ungodly amount of money.
It's like even besides the normal pop culture that's there, it's the fact that like Jim Cummings is there, so he's signing autographs, and Shinkiro of Capcom and SNK fame is there, and I was like, oh man, I was like, the Artist Alley in San Diego Comic-Con must be miles beyond New York Comic-Con.
It was one of my favorite things the last time I got to go. And the last time I was there, Jeremy Jr. was with me. He was about 10 at the time. And he was helping me out doing media stuff because I managed to get a press pass also, which I'm going to push for that again. And if we go, see if I can get us press passes for the site and the podcast. And that opens up a bunch of access to be able to interview people and talk to them. So we were doing an interview with Art Balthazar, who did the old Tiny Titans series and stuff like that for DC, and he did some stuff for Marvel. And I remember we're sitting there talking, and we just stop and look, and then there goes Stan Lee and his entourage just walking by us, like right in front. It's just like, it's him! And everybody, be it the fans, children, adults, the artists, everybody was just in awe as he walked by.
Yeah, there's even that with the Artist Alley, there's something special when you see somebody who's like, the art's really nice, but you don't know the name and how they light up when you're like looking at their stuff. That's how I was just like, who's this old guy that looks like he's got a pretty good like thing that looks like kind of anime-ish. And my wife, then girlfriend, I was just like, do you know who this person is? And she's like, holy cow. And it was Peter S. Beagle of The Last Unicorn, the creator of The Last Unicorn. And people were just walking by him, not putting two and two together. So I lied to her saying like, oh, I didn't get anything. He left for the day or something like that. When I actually got a picture with him and I got him to sign the book, Last Unicorn. So I was just like, sweet. And then I also found smaller artists that did artwork for like the My Little Pony comics, and she was just like, hey, for like a couple bucks, she had these like little square pieces of paper, and she would use watercolor, and she would draw something really quick. So she used watercolor and a little bit of pen, and she's like, anything you want. And I was just like, can you draw Princess Peach? So she did that, and I still have that next to my Switch. And then I don't know where my wife put it, but it made her cry when she saw it because I was like, she misses her cat Oak, but her cat would always go up to her computer. Here's a picture of the cat. Can you draw it like in front of a laptop? And she's like, sure. And it was like a nice, cute little cat. And I was like, and she was doing it like really quick too. So I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
It's little things like that where I'm just like, yeah, I know. Yeah, you drew the X-Men. Oh, yeah, you drew Superman. I was just like, who's the person who drew like a webcomic I used to love as a kid, or just like something that looks interesting?
I got to meet and talk to some of my favorite artists and stuff back in the day. I got to meet Jim Lee. He was super cool. Him and Scott Williams, who did, the drawings and the ink and everything for some of my favorite runs of Batman back then when Jim Lee was doing that. They signed and did some artwork for me for those. I got to meet Todd McFarlane and talk to him. He's super nice. Um, that was also the last time we got to meet Grant Imahara for the one of those years, who sadly passed away. I think it's been just over 10 years at this point. He was absolutely amazing to talk to. And that's one thing I've always really enjoyed. Like for Amanda, I ended up finding the people that did the Fraggle Rock comic books and stuff, and got a hardback copy of it and got them all to sign
Right.
it for her. And I'm not one of those people where I'm going like, oh, I just want the signature and whatever. I want it personalized. Like I want it to me.
Yeah, and
Um,
I had one where because Chris was at like he was either in the artist alley or on the other end of the hall, so there's no way he was getting through that crowd unless I
right.
had my friend Carlos with me, who he would say grab onto my backpack and he would bulldoze, and it was great. um,
I
but
remember.
I got
Oh,
to because they did some kind of like anime tie-in thing, but one of the voices was Rob Paulson, so he was there.
oh,
So I got to meet him, and you waited online and stuff like that. And I unfortunately didn't have anything to sign for him, but I somewhere I still have the voice sample that he made for Christian. As the brain saying like, "Where are you? Like you should be coming over here. There's all kinds of pretty girls waiting for you over here and stuff like that." I was like, "This is awesome."
that's
So
fantastic.
he's cool.
One of my favorite artists, also from that worked with Capcom, is a guy named Long Vo. He was absolutely amazing. I got to talk with him, and I was paying to get just a really basic, because it was kind of expensive. I was doing just a basic painting of Ken from Street Fighter, my favorite character, and we were being patient and just talking. And this guy came up. I guess he bought the book and some other stuff, so he wanted his drawing right then. Like he didn't want to wait. So he kind of, Vo looked at me, and I was like, "It's okay, I can wait." So he thanked me and kind of did the drawing, and he wanted Ken as well. So he's kind of doing this small doodle. But he was like, because you were patient and you were cool about it, like he started drawing mine. He's like, "Oh, you want him doing, the dragon punch and all that stuff and the uppercut." And he starts just keep adding to it and adding to it as he's going, and it just got so much better and better. And it's hanging in the other room. It's
Nice.
in the game room, hanging up there, and it's one of my favorite, like, just pieces of art from a lot of that. And that's the kind of stuff I want to get, because like that's
Yeah, because
the holy grail for me is if I can meet Alex Ross. I would love to at least meet that guy.
I at least even found like these little indie artists who would draw all
Mm-hmm.
the. I have the in my booklet the Nintendo characters in kind of like a mystery noir, detective noir series and stuff like that.
I
And
got a few from early art books I would buy from artists. Like they had really good stuff, and I'd buy it. They'd sign it, and they were real happy about it. And they, find out later they moved on to do like larger projects, and it's like, all right, it's great to see them, continuing on. And I have this early book from him, which is great.
I'm trying to remember this guy's name.
Once you look
Or
it up,
let's see, where is he? Rusty Shackles. I'd love to meet him because
okay.
he did almost all of the book covers that I know of that are
Mm-hmm.
pretty awesome looking for the Hardcore Gaming 101 series, like the Castlevania Unofficial
Oh,
Guide, Data East Arcade Classics, Metal Gear Silent Hill, stuff like that. And I at one point even went to his site and bought a bunch of ones that he like reimagined. That what if Punch Out had a comic book series, what would the first issue look like and stuff like that. And he would show you how he took like an old Marvel or DC comic book and he adapted it. So you'd be like, I recognize all those poses, and it's because he said I took that for inspiration and then fit it into
I
any
that happens
Nintendo.
so
So
much in comic books, and I absolutely love when they do that. One of my favorites that I have is there's an issue. I think it's issue 11. And maybe it's either 10 or 11 of the original run of Secret Wars, which has got Doctor Doom in that pose with his armor all broken and like he's ready to fight. And someone adapted that, and I have this massive poster that's framed in the other room of Samus with her armor all broken in that exact same pose, and it's made to look like it's called Samus Wars, and it's made to look like the Secret Wars cover. Um, and it's just I love when they do that. And I've seen that same cover used a few times. Um, those references, yeah, those are great. I love those. Oh, so yeah, I guess we'll jump out of our Comic Con memories and jump into what we've been doing. Steven, do you want to talk about that? What you've been up to?
Sure. Not too much. I finished Pixel Flow, so
Oh, nice.
I got my reward. Used it up already. They didn't have eBay this time, so I was like, okay, I can pick Walmart, I can pick Google Play. So I picked Google Play because I was just like,
See,
I
I've been
can use.
getting money the old-fashioned way, and that's giving blood and platelets.
Yeah, they really want me to give blood because I'm AB plus, so they want my plasma so bad. So I think I might go because they're like, yeah, we'll give you $20 and we'll give you a movie ticket. I'm
I
like,
think
okay.
I'm like the second most, not most common, but most like usable. So
Yeah,
they
because
message me all the time.
I'm
They
up there
wanted to
that
check
I'm
all
hard
my
to get, and
kids.
then my mom is the rarest because she's AB negative.
Yeah, they wanted to check all my kids and see who can draw.
Um, and like the last time I donated blood is because they were giving out Tetris T-shirts. They had
Oh,
partnered with
nice.
Tetris. I missed the Pac-Man one. I wanted to do that one.
See, why do they ever do those here? I would be all for that, but they never do that.
But yeah, I finished that because I was like, yeah, I'll use it on Google Play because then YouTube Premium can just keep re-upping through that
Oh,
instead
there you
of
go.
my normal account. So I was like, let's do that. Um,
Hadn't thought about that.
I played the first beta when it was closed because I got in, but now there's an open beta for Tokon Fighting Souls where you can, and they added in the ability to play as I believe Blade and Loki. I can't remember, but definitely
Okay.
Blade because I watched somebody all night last night play as Blade. Um, they're definitely not going to give us Deadpool because there's just too much to unpack with him. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are liking it, so and you can just do training modes and stuff like that. You don't have to face other people,
Hmm.
so it's something you can just experience and get used to the that it plays nothing like Marvel vs. Capcom, um, and has its own accessibility, which is really nice. Um, and then you can comment on like, oh, this is the music they're going with, and the fact that you can play as Peni Parker, uh, and you have interactions when you have like Spider-Man versus Green Goblin and stuff like that. So because they're the Guilty Gear guys, there's so many interactions that made Marvel vs. Capcom look like nothing in terms of like if you put certain characters together, they'll talk about things that happened
The
in
gameplay
their
kind of, I don't
saga.
know why it reminds me of Tatsunoko versus Capcom. It kind of feel, I mean, just from a visual, it kind of feels that way to me, which is not a bad thing. I love that game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Um, that and I'm still going through Yakuza Zero Director's Cut fully in English. I got through Kiryu's part, and now I'm getting to hear. I got to hear Matt Mercer as a villain on Kiryu's side, so that was unique. But now I get to play as Matt Mercer playing Majima, which I was just like, not only is he going to sing, which I can't wait, um, but as we all know from sequential games, Majima goes insane. So I was just like, I can't wait to see how Matt Mercer handles that. So I'm enjoying it.
Handles it crazy.
I keep forgetting it's on Switch too because it looks so good.
That's what I've been playing it on. I need to get back into it. I was really enjoying it. I just got kind of bumped off playing some other stuff, but it's such a fun game, especially
Yeah,
for travel while playing around with it. So for me, recently the Analog 3D had an update, which I think is the 1.5.0 update, which adds in, they've doubled the horizontal resolution, which you can do, which surprisingly cleans up a lot of stuff, especially anything that's up close to the camera. It gets a lot more detail. Things are easier to read. Um, I think some people describe some games looking almost like they're running on a Dreamcast, which I actually can see for a couple of titles. Um, and that's got me playing. It's kind of like a new renaissance of my N64 of going through my library. And I've been playing a lot of Gauntlet Legends. I want that game to get brought back so bad just to have online functionality. Like, even if it's just NSO, I would start that game over again just to play with you guys because it's so much fun. And I have it on the Dreamcast as well, but I think the N64 one had the better 4-player multiplayer.
it did. Yeah,
Like,
because I
it
think
actually
everything ran
had extra
smoother.
features. Um, with the PlayStation version being just really bad. I think it's not good. But it already looked great on the N64, and then with the analog 3D, it was playing even better. The boost mode puts it at pretty much a locked 60. Like it runs so nice now. And then now with the enhanced resolution and the extra features, it's the cleanest I've seen it, and it is comparable pretty much to the Dreamcast one. The nice thing the Dreamcast one has is it includes some of the later content from the sequel, so it has like some extra characters and stuff. But I'm just running around as my barbarian, just beating the shit out of everything. And I've made it further into that game than I ever have before. Like I've seen a whole bunch of new levels. I've already unlocked like 3 or 4 of the different areas. I was like, I might actually play this all the way through. And then I went back to one of my other favorite N64 games to see how it was running now, and that was Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, which I liked that game, but we can all admit back in the day it was running rough. um, it runs like a brand new game now. Like it's smoothed out the frame rate, it's cleaned up the graphics on it. I'm using a different controller now. Oh, what'd you post on here?
Oh, it's just Rusty Shackles artwork.
Oh, nice. Um, but so Star Wars was working really well, and I ended up playing through like the first 3 or 4 levels, just having fun sitting there playing it. And yeah, I'm exploring more and more titles, which is great. I've been picking up more N64 games to play and exploring my backlog of titles. So if you can get one for an analog 3D, I highly recommend it. It's great. It does work with some of like the summer cart and stuff like that. But I like the library functionality because now there's a button I can take screenshots at any time, which is great. And then when you take the screenshots, you can either turn the filters and stuff on or off, so I can get cleaner screenshots or not after the fact, which is a nice detail. And then it'll actually properly scale it and output it to 4K if you want. Like it just takes the screenshot as is, and then lets you decide how you want to do it.
Nice.
So expect those up on the Discord here soon because I've been playing around with it. After that, we talked last week a little bit about, but I got my Turok Trilogy cart came in, and I remembered Stephen, you specifically said, well, Turok 3 is like the best looking one. So I had never played it, so I figured I'd go ahead and give it a shot. And you were not wrong. That is shocking how good that looks for an N64 game.
Yeah, right. Story,
But
voice, everything.
the Switch version plays so great. Like it feels like a modern digital title, like somebody just made an indie game and you can play
Nice.
it. And I picked the younger brother as the one that I'm playing as, and I've made it through like 3 or 4 levels so far. The controls are really nice. The only awkward thing is jumping is on a trigger now, which I guess you would jump with the Z button originally, which just seems weird. But yeah, now it's just not like that, you monster.
Yeah, gotcha.
God
Okay.
dang it, Steven.
You kind of have to.
No, you don't. Just kind of hold it like this, like a normal person. God. You're like one of those people that tries to hug somebody and it's just like all awkward and weird because you just don't know how to handle things. Oh, man. That argument's never going to end.
I
But
had to bring
it's
that up because I was like, I remember how I played Turok. Do you? So,
yeah, no, I played it like a human being with my hands like this.
it looks like the
So,
Wii to me. So
well, I mean, you basically take an N64 controller and split it, and that's the Wii. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. But I'm enjoying it. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. It does show up as 3 separate games when you put the cartridge in, but all 3 of them are on there, which is what I was hoping for. So now I have Turok 1, Turok 2, and then the Turok trilogy because I never got
it's
the
like
third one
the
separate.
so it's like the Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered Collection where it just says, "Here's all 6 Final
Yeah, every
Fantasies."
time you put that in, it just completely just ruins my front screen. It's just here's everything.
Yeah,
There's a couple games that do that, but I'm okay with that because it treats them individually. It helps track them. Like if you take screenshots, you don't have to hunt through everything. You can look for the specific game. It's nice. And then lastly, I picked up Splatoon Raiders, which I posted about on the Discord the other day, but I didn't get a chance to play it till today. I played it for about an hour or so before the show.
hmm
I made it through the tutorial, and I'm into the first couple of maps. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with how it looks and how it runs. Um, I've seen some clips where more stuff shows up. Like it's not a huge graphical tour de force over the old versions from Switch 1, but what they focus on is it's a little bit cleaner for the graphics, and they can push a lot more going on at one time without ever breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
So eventually you get to the point there are just waves of enemies everywhere and things going off, and it just handles it like a champ. And then tie into that, you can have up to 4 people playing at the same time and still doing that. And I'm kind of happy that that's where they put the the Switch 2 power towards, is making the gameplay and stuff run better and consistently in all the modes versus trying to make it all shiny and then having it degrade as you get, more going on. So that's a whole debate. I know people want like all these extra graphical features and things, and I'm like, it looks like Splatoon, it plays great, it's funny. I like the customization. I'm kind of working on that and leveling up your items. I like the new tools and items you get. I ended up going with like the little turret you can throw and it pops up and starts shooting. The characters are insane. You'll show here in a little bit the amiibos that I have not yet found that I'm really wanting to get.
Because I'm always like, whenever they do amiibos to go with the game, I'll get the amiibos because those will be harder to get than the game because the game will be available everywhere.
Right. And I tried getting the amiibos, but freaking GameStop was like, oh, you only have to do it online, but they wouldn't give me the exact date and time, and then they wouldn't sell them anymore, and then I couldn't get them on Best Buy, and my Target's pretty much just stopped selling most of their games now. They've got some stuff, but the only amiibos they had were the old ones. They didn't have any new ones.
As they come back up, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and tonight see if I can get the 2 Resident Evil ones you sent me. Go ahead and get those out of the way, and then
Yeah.
I'll get the Splatoon as I go. I need to find out because the funny thing is this is not the first time they've released these characters. They have previous versions of them from Splatoon 3 also. And I wonder if those get treated the same. Like if they do the same functions or if
Yeah, I don't know.
because I'm going to get them. I want to complete my set, but I'm not as concerned right now because I don't have those damn blocks. I had them in my hand at Nintendo World, but they were over $100 for the set. And I was like, I am strapped for cash and I don't want to carry this heavy ass box back home. I would have hated walking around New York carrying that thing. So I let it go. I had to make my decision and I'll find them later. But let's go ahead and jump over to the group chat and talk about our pickups for this week because, well, as usual, you and I have more games and things.
Yeah.
Chinkies. So, Steven, why don't you go and start us off, man?
Well, since Chase already showed off his games just now, let's do the croc in the room, the big croc. Let's address that. We got the Mario Crocs with a felt hat.
And I hate the fact I know that's not the only set you got.
You silly.
You're a completionist in some of the most disturbing ways.
I got Bowser with the spikes on it.
How hard are the spikes? Are they like plush or are they like little pop-in rubber things?
No, you can hurt somebody. You can kick them.
Oh, God.
You can kick somebody and be like, get out of my house.
You imagine getting your ass kicked literally by a pair of Crocs? Like, that's just terrible.
We got the sparkly Princess Peach ones that have like the nice little glitter around the sides here.
Okay, I'm asking you now, Steven, don't ever show those to Jennifer. Don't ever let her see those.
Okay, so show them to her. Got it.
God damn it.
Then you got the basic Mario, like not really Mario, just Nintendo themed because you have Mario and Luigi.
Oh, did they not do a Luigi pair?
No, Luigi doesn't get that. He's not allowed.
Fuck you, Croc.
Well, that's a Croc.
Yeah.
From Crocs. And I got my wife the Yoshi ones. And yes, I bought charms of every colored Yoshi because they offered it. But she is now converted. She's just like, she can't believe that she likes them because she put them right on and she's like, why do they fit perfectly? And I was just like, welcome to Crocs.
I love the fact that they were first featured in Idiocracy because they thought they were the dumbest fucking shoe ever and people like idiots would be wearing them. And then they caught on and
now they're comfy, yeah.
I never meant to do that.
But yeah, I got the 3.
That's awesome.
And the big guy. This guy actually comes packaged differently than I've ever had an amiibo packaged before because they put strings around his arms, like those not zip
bands.
ties, but like those clear bands that you have to slowly untwist to get something out. So
I need to see if the last one came packaged like that as well. Because he's hanging over there, but he's still in the box. I never opened him.
I have them over there, so I didn't. I forgot to grab them, but Walmart out of nowhere was having a clearance sale on all
Hmm.
their toys.
Oh,
So
nice.
so I picked up the Mario Galaxy Bowser's Castle, the one that has the painting he did and stuff, and has a little version of him. It was
Right.
$6 for the entire castle. So it was like,
That's yeah.
and then they
That's
had,
so cheap you can't say no.
from the series they had the original Mega Man, Elect Man, and Cut Man for like $7 a piece. So I got those because they look like they're from the first game.
Oh, I
So
may have to go see if I can find those. Jennifer absolutely still loves Mega Man stuff, so I try and find her figures and things.
because yeah, it was just one night, and I posted a few of them on our deals channel because I was just
Hmm.
like, they're just saying let's get rid of all the toys. So I was like, okay. Um, but yeah, I made sure to get those, and then lastly, I do have, yes, the Turok trilogy as well.
Nice.
And
It's a good
then
deal, honestly. If you can get it, that is a great collection of games because that those versions of them are just perfect. Like just to play them and have fun with them.
Woot was having a birthday sale, so they had a coupon code where you could get 22% off everything up to $50 saved. So I
Hmm.
picked up Dragon Quest Seven Reimagined for $22. So I was like, okay, Switch One version.
So I almost bought that the other day because like Target around here and a lot of the Targets are starting to gut and sell off a lot of their games.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that, and then they had the Switch 2 version of it. But they were selling that one for 40 something dollars, the Switch 2 one for only 29. And I was like, game key card versus actual card. And I was like,
Yep.
ah. So I ended up holding off
Um,
on it.
and then lastly, because this one was a no-brainer for me, because this one was like 17 with their Woot discount, and that was Monopoly Star Wars Heroes versus Villains for Switch 2.
I was gonna look because the Switch One I think is all on cart. I was gonna get that one.
But I was just like, the price is right. Uh,
Yeah,
it's a game key card, and it says make sure you have 4 gigs to install it. I was like, really, guys? Who can I
Nintendo
blame
really
here?
needs to get
Really,
like
Ubisoft? Like, what's wrong with you, Ubisoft? It's 4 gigs.
yeah, it's Ubisoft. They really need to just. They should have either just released it on Switch One and gave us an update, which wouldn't have been
Um,
perfect, but it would have been something, or
but I
just
read the
Nintendo needs to make smaller
reviews,
carts.
and they said the Switch One had a lot of issues right now that they're waiting for
Really?
patches for, because it had everything from audio to frame rate to just things not working or crashing.
Oh,
While like,
regardless of which system you played it on.
yeah, while this
Oh,
one like was working fine and supported all 4 players fine. And I wanted to try out the new mode where you could just do heroes versus villains, and it bends the rules of Monopoly. So I was like, okay,
I'm waiting for my moral dilemma of like a pinball game releasing on a game key card, and I'm like, shit, what do I do?
it'll be coming soon. Don't worry,
Oh,
we'll
don't
see.
know. Thank God my Williams collection that's coming will be actual on carts. Which one releases I can play on there? I'm fine with that,
But yeah, because even Limited Run said they'll never sell key cards.
which is good. So for me, I've picked up a couple games here recently, but continuing my N64 love, I ended up getting Hot Wheels Turbo Racing because the N64 you just can't have enough racing games. I think like this is the majority of the system is racing games and platformers, like or 3D platformers, which is fine. The N64 was made for those, but I'm hoping this is actually kind of fun. I do enjoy a couple good Hot Wheels games, so we'll see what happens. For the NES, I ended up getting, and I'm going to butcher this name because I never say it right.
It's
A-
called 720
Asteniacs. I never really sure.
Astyonics.
Really? It's better guess than I've got. Asteniacs, sure. Um, the beauty of my ADHD and me forgetting things is I had this marked on my list as look for this, like on my wanted list, and I don't remember what in the world I watched that made me think, oh, that looks fun. I should play it. So I can add a game to my list, forget about it, and then when I actually end up picking it up because I told myself to get it, it's like a gift to myself. So I'm sure I'll have fun playing this later.
Yeah, it's a nice little
Go me.
it's a nice little side-scrolling platformer, and the funny thing is about it is you start with a sword that looks like you broke it, and then you slowly like make this huge sword that looks really stupid, but it's really powerful.
Reverse Tears of the Kingdom.
So it's like, all right.
Continuing, I've been working on trying to get all of the Tengen games, which Steven very quickly reminded me of how many of these damn things there were on NES. So this is going to become very expensive and take a while, but it's a fun search. I picked up Super Sprint for the NES, as well as Roadrunner, which is great timing since we got the trailer for Coyote versus Acme finally. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of fitting for that. And then the other game that you talked about was 720. Not the greatest sports game, but I love the art. I'm just going to kind of zoom that in there. I would love that as a poster. It's such a clean, basic design. It's very groovy. For the original Switch, I found a copy of Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures Deluxe. I had the first Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it's fun on the Switch, but this one, I have to double check and see, but apparently got an update for Switch 2 where it adds in mouse support, which is kind of cool that you can play this with a mouse. Also, this is my 499th game for the Switch. So either whatever gets sent to me next, my limited run, or whatever game I find while I'm out, I have to be careful of because it's going to be my 500th game, and I'm curious how that's going to be. I'm hoping limited run will hurry up and send me my pinball games because that would be 500 and 501. And it feels fitting to be the Williams collections as much as I love pinball. Of course, here's the previous mentioned Splatoon Raiders. You haven't picked up the game yet, right?
I have not.
Okay. When you do get it, this has got one of the best co-op designs from what I've seen. If we all play it, say the four of us are playing it, everybody gets credit for the levels they finish. You can't go to levels other people have not done, so everybody has to be walked up. But whenever you finish a level, everybody gets credit for it, which is great. Everybody is playing on their own difficulty. You want it more difficult or less, that's your choice, and it just depends on how much damage you give and take. It does not affect what creatures are there, so everybody can play that way. And like whatever stuff you earn, everybody gets it. You're not having to fight over who gets what. And I think you can kind of drop in and out as you do it for the entire story. So I'm looking forward to actually messing around with that with some people because I got a few friends that are wanting to get it as well.
Okay, as an addendum,
Mm-hmm.
I've got good news and I've got bad news for you.
Shite. What's the
Uh,
bad news? Just
bad
get it out of
news
the
is
way.
bad news is Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures Deluxe does not have a Switch 2 edition.
Not a Switch 2 edition. I thought it was just an update that added that in.
No, there's no update that adds the mouse controls or anything.
Ah, which one was
It's
it? I thought it was one of the roller coasters.
Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic has
Oh, I already had that. God dang it.
has an update that brings enhanced resolution, Joy-Con 2 mouse controls, and optimized touchscreen support.
I already had that one.
Well, I have more
Well,
Roller Coaster
yeah,
Tycoon.
I bought this one thinking this was the one that had the extra features.
You have the modern spin-off.
Okay, cool. More modern games. I picked up a copy of Far Cry 5. So now that's another one that we can add to our weird co-op of Far Cry games, which these are very hit or miss when we play them together.
Yeah,
They're usually pretty fun.
it's always because the other player gets no progress saved whatsoever.
Which we just talked about, Nintendo and Splatoon doing right. That sucks. I was hoping to play this one. I picked up Sonic Frontiers on PS5, which once again, new PS5 game for me. It's a physical disc, and it will always be.
Whoa!
Which also goes with the fact that I now own Saints Row, the collector's edition. And in my defense, I know this game is terrible. It was $5. I'd buy it for the full collector's
Was
edition.
this like
Steel box.
$5 at a local store, or was this GameStop saying get rid of this?
$5 at GameStop.
Oh wow!
I was sitting there talking to my friends that work there, and he was joking. He's like, "Hey, do you want this collector's edition for $5?" And I looked at him and went, "Yes." And he's like, "Wait, what?" No, I was kidding. And I'm like, "No, you marked it. It's $5. I'm taking it." Because everything is in here. Like, I have to give him credit for the fact that like all the art book, the case, everything's in there. Even for just that, for the ephemera, I'll give it a shot just to mess around with it and see exactly how bad it is for a little bit. For $5, it's not that bad. And then I've got Rebel Raiders Operation Nighthawk, which is a plane game for the PS2 I wanted to try out. Bloodwake for the Xbox, which is a great like boat,
Super
basically like
difficult, but
shooter.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't make games like this that much anymore. I kind of miss this style, like
I
Vigilante 8 on
forget.
the
I
water.
forget. Is that Rainbow Studios or is that somebody else?
It's Microsoft Game Studios.
Okay.
Um, Stormfront Studios is who makes it.
Okay. They probably laid
Yeah,
them all off anyway.
probably. But the game's gotten really good reviews and it looks fun.
Oh yeah, it is.
And then, inspired by one of Steven's collections, I've got a number of Call of Duty games I've been working on getting because he's got me kind of going back. So I have Call of Duty Ghost for 360. Originally, I had this on Wii U, and that's what I played it on. So we'll see how it is on here. Modern Warfare 3. I don't know what happened to my original copy because I know I had this and I played it and I loved it, but it's gone. I can't find it. So I ended up buying a new copy of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which this is a classic. If you have a 360, you should have this game. It's great. And then lastly, I got Call of Duty 3 for the Wii. And just like how I love the Call of Duties on DS, I know they look like shit, but I love the controls. Like it's just fun for me using the pointer and messing with stuff.
Well,
Apparently,
like
that one does not
that
have
one. That one. The
zombies.
Call of Duty 3, you can like fight with the gun and stuff too. Like,
Stuff like that's fun to me. Like it makes it different. Like yeah, it doesn't look the same, but I don't care. I'm going to be running it through a scaler anyways. I'll be playing that on my Wii U, running through a RetroTink 4K, which will upscale a lot of the stuff and makes it look a little bit better. But I'm just going to be having fun with it, so whatever. So yeah, that's my pickups for this week. Since we're not all here, we can probably just skip talking about Toxic Commando for this week. We just played some more of it, but we can.
getting there with it.
Yeah,
We're
we're getting
unlocking
there.
more. We're unlocking more stuff, so it's good.
Yeah, we'll have to see when we actually play it again, but we'll see. But this week we're going to go ahead and jump over to. Let's talk about it before we get into the news this week, and this is specifically about tariffs and consumer expectations. That is going to be our sound effect until I find something better, and I'm too lazy to do that right now. So, basically, Nintendo is facing heat for comments made during a motion filed this week to end a class action lawsuit against them over the U.S. tariffs in April. Nintendo's lawyers have argued that, quote, Nintendo or one of its retailers set a price for each product, and consumers decided whether that price was worth paying. Those who bought Nintendo's products received exactly what they bargained and paid for, a console, a game, and or an accessory at a price to which both parties agreed. Now, tariffs have been one of the few points of contention lately in the gaming and electronics markets as they, along with the ever-growing, unending AI bubble eating up the supply of electronics and parts, have led to drastic price increases across the board. This has been shown up in everything from the PS5, the Xbox Series system, Steam Deck, the Steam Machine is a big one, as well as even the Switch 2, seeing a $50 price increase in was it beginning of September, I think is when that one comes into effect. So you still got a month. And I wanted to talk about this whole thing because this comment, people have taken it and run like crazy. Oh, Nintendo deserve to be sued. You should steal all their stuff because they're just taking it from you. They should be giving all of those tariffs back to everybody. And I kind of don't agree with that. Like, I see their argument, but I wanted us to talk about it because the tariffs have been kind of a mess. That's putting it
Oh, they're going to be
nicely.
a mess all over again.
Yeah, now that we're apparently upset that Canada's has smoke because there's a fire, we've put tariffs on them, which is stupid. But I think consumer expectations have gotten to the point where they kind of want everything for as little as possible, and they expect they should get everything. And I wanted to talk about that. So, Stephen, we'll start with you on that for kind of your thoughts on this whole Nintendo part of it first. Like, what do you think about their
Um,
comment?
to preface this entire thing, come at me, bro, because if you are part of this Nintendo promoting a class action lawsuit, you can just walk right off the pier. Take a long walk off a short pier. Classic.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Can you give me another example in the history of time that people just suddenly got a check in the mail because it's like the price they got refunded for tariffs or the price went down? Why don't you give the money back to Ubisoft, Jeremy? Now that you got Saints Row for $5, I think what do you owe them like another $54 now?
If it's as bad as people tell me, they owe me money.
And it's like, oh, Doritos had a price hike for a while, and then suddenly they're like, oh, they're not selling, so we're going to drop the price to $2.99. Do we get our money back for all the Doritos we bought? What about the eggs that they lied about and made them like $6 and now they're $2? Do we get our money back? No. So stop making this about you. There's bigger and more important battles when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to import fees to be had, and you should go after certain ones that are getting ridiculous instead of just trying to going after the big guy saying like, well, I bought this because this is the price you offered it, but now that you're getting a refund, which the other side doesn't even know how to do refunds, and so they're just doing it very slowly. You have no
Mm-hmm.
idea when this would be done, so I don't know what you're expecting, and it's just um, this is the first time it's come to the front lines of just tariffs on what they've been doing to us with prices. This is the first time we're getting price increases in consoles instead of decreases over time to for them to sell more units. So it's just like, well, sorry, I don't know why you're not going after Sony or Xbox in the same vein. And I think it just makes for good headlines whenever it's just like Nintendo's in trouble because they're the ones that are avoiding things like the physical debate and layoffs and just like general stuff. They recently tried to come out under fire for not having enough original games from from one website I won't even give the name to because I'd hate them. Um,
Fair enough.
but it got people basically, thankfully, on Blue Sky to just be like, here's a bunch of IPs that Nintendo made, and they're all awesome. And the fact that a lot of them they just keep working on no matter what, and they don't try to do a spin-off, they just try to do more in that IP. They said whether you like it or hate it, you can blame Starfield for the fact that you're not getting another Fallout for like another decade and stuff like that. But he's just like, that's just what happens. People make their own choices, and they just said this is why we release these games because we do a remake, and then people are like, I love that remake, and then they're like, well, the remake did well, so we've already been developing a new game. We don't watch trends. We just do what we think is fun.
We make them.
Because they interviewed Miyamoto about that, and he's just
Mm-hmm.
like, we don't follow trends. We just make something that's fun. So if things are changing, we don't care. Um, so yeah, if you're in this and you're trying to go after this, get a hold of yourself. Um, Focus on something more important and stop going after Nintendo for menial stuff like this because it just makes you look petty. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, the way I look at this, like with part of my job, tariffs affected us, have been affecting us for a while because we have to make and ship things internationally. Um, and we were being tariffed both receiving the equipment we needed and sending it out, including if we had to take parts of it out to send back to get repaired or worked on. They were tariffing us for the entire amount both ways. Like it was just taking huge chunks out of us. So if we're able to get that money back, if these refunds are happening, we're not, you know, we're having to try and make up part of that cost on the way out. They're not necessarily going to turn around and send that to the people. They've agreed to the amounts that we're selling the stuff for, and we can turn around and use that for employee pay or getting supplies that we need and working on things. Like there's more cost than just getting it back.
Yeah,
Um,
if anything, people, this will help bring the stuff back down over time because it's going to take us a while for the Earth to heal from um, a moron. So it's like, okay,
and a lot of that's still going on too, which is
yeah,
aggravating. But yeah, it's going to take time for this stuff to go down. But Nintendo's at least one of the companies that they're not getting this money back and then like laying off entire like thousands of people or shutting parts down or
yeah,
doing all this stuff. They're paying the employees. They're trying to keep everybody happy. Like that was another thing that Miyamoto was quoted in talking about recently. It's like you can't make anything good if everyone is so stressed out about being fired or just burning through
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Once you hurt morale, it hurts creativity. It hurts everything.
Yeah. And, I can only imagine people working at Xbox right now that are just like, oh, we're trying to make this game, but I don't know if I'm going to be here next week. Like they could just have another round of layoffs out of the blue.
Yeah, I'll have a funny thing to say about that later.
Yeah, we have an entire thing we're going to talk about that the person who helped make it that they're all celebrating got laid off. Like, I'm guessing that's what you were going to mention.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get into that next. Yeah. So I get it. People want to have like this is not going to be those situations where it's like, oh, well, I bought this on Amazon or on Best Buy or Amazon, and if the price goes down within a certain amount of time, I get a refund. That's that's great that they do that, but that is not realistic on a scale of everything.
Yeah, because everybody else knew that tariffs we imposed, both back and forth, were thought out, were meticulous, were just made with both parties in agreement half the time, or were done because of something egregious,
Mm-hmm.
not because easy money.
Yeah,
So
not to allies and people that he just has a
not
hissy
to
fit
use
about.
not to use an ancient rule from 1967 or 1976 that says we've got word that maybe how you make these is inhumane, so we're allowed to do this to you. It's like a lot of hearsay.
Yeah, um, I just they're not. It's not double dipping. I don't think they're having to. Nintendo initially made the costs of what they could with their systems. They delayed the release of pre-orders in America, if you remember originally, because they were having to adjust because it was just so random of tariffs being added and then jumping around in the amounts and where they were. And Nintendo was spending money trying to find ways to ease that, where they were making production in different countries, opening stuff up in Vietnam and other places, trying to not skirt it, but just find a way around that so that they wouldn't have to charge these exorbitant amounts for everybody. And eventually, to try and balance it out, yeah, they had to raise the cost on some of their older stuff, like the original Switch and some of their accessories, while trying to keep the actual Switch 2 at a point they could do. And I know people were complaining about the cost. Oh, it's so much. I think right now the Switch 2 is probably one of the better deals. Like if you get one with what you can play, what you can do, the power of what it has, it is a lot cheaper even than the Steam Deck, which it outperforms the Steam Deck wildly. And it is now hundreds of dollars cheaper and available, which is a whole different thing. So I just I think consumer expectations need to be a little bit more in line because they announced the system, they gave us the price. If you thought it was too high, it is your right not to get it. You don't have to. That is, if you want to boycott it and not buy that and you get enough people to do it, they might listen. That's how that works. That's what happened with the 3DS. They decided they weren't selling enough, it cost too much, they brought it down. That's a whole different market now because now all the components are becoming more and more expensive every time they get it. There's lawsuits and antitrust suits that are going towards the three memory manufacturers because there's more evidence that they're colluding on stuff. Valve has even said, like, if you don't accept the deal they give you, they just blackball you and you just can't get memory at all. So they're having to pay whatever these people say. And it's the most open collusion I could see, where if you say no to any of them, all of them block you and you just can't get memory. Even to Valve, freaking Valve of all companies, the great PC savior company that everybody keeps claiming it is, can't get a decent deal on memory. So every other company is having to deal with that. I don't feel so bad about Microsoft and Sony because they're kind of digging their own freaking hole with this about pushing the AI bubble. But Nintendo's not trying to do that. They don't use it for their art. They're not trying to use it for game development. They're trying to just make the systems and make them available as best they can without losing money. I mean, the fact that they are only raising it $50 and then even then trying to turn around and offer a free game with it for at least a little while to try and balance it out only brings it up to the launch day special edition of it. It only brings it up to exactly what I paid for my Switch 2 because I got a
Yeah,
game with it. that could be so much worse. Like, I know it's not good that it's going up. I agree. It's, we're going into the second generation of systems that are going to increase over time and not decrease. But they're trying to at least stem the tide where they can. And you can't just do that for free and then expect them to just pump out money to everybody while also paying their people better wages, giving them raises, not laying people off, moving them around as needed so they're not wasting all that talent. They're just readjusting them to where they can go and using them. Great, you don't like Nintendo for whatever reason. I get that, but be realistic here. This is the better case scenario than a lot of other people are having to deal with. So maybe realize that. And I still, why are they suing just Nintendo when all these other companies are also getting refunds and are not giving the money back? Yet it's just Nintendo getting a class action lawsuit. And it's like, you're just being pissy because that's just how I feel about it. So, yeah.
Nintendo makes headlines.
Nintendo does make headlines. They also make really good games. And I'm sure there's some people that have had bad times working at Nintendo. That happens everywhere. Kit and Krista can shut up. Like, God, I get tired of hearing everyone be like, oh, well, these ex Nintendo, experts or employees. It's like
It's like you
they
guys
were,
are just bitter and looking for fame, and I don't like that. That people are hanging on your every word and be like, former Nintendo employees say that somebody smoked in the bathroom. It's like, shut up, shut up.
yeah. It's gotten to the point. It's like, it was kind of fun hearing the tales of what they would do and the history of stuff. But now they're constantly second guessing everything and trying to, oh, well, they should have done this or we should do this now. And it's like, you can have those opinions, but like, everybody needs to stop just reporting it as the gospel.
Yeah,
They are no longer in the loop. They are not behind the scenes. They have no insight beyond what they did, what is now years past before any of the current times, before the AI bubble and the tariffs and all that. They were already gone. So they don't understand the backgrounds of what's going on right now. They're just guessing, and every day that goes further, they're guessing more and more. They're guessing a little better than we are. I'll give them that. Like, but I don't know. All right, you ready to move over to the news? Yeah, thumbs up. All right, so a little bit of good news, bad news from Xbox. I'll give the good news, and Steven will fill in the bad. Xbox announces a new PC-based backwards compatibility program for OG Xbox titles. 4 titles are available to play now, digital only, on PC, which is Fusion Frenzy, Crimson Sky's High Road to Revenge, Blinks the Time Sweeper, and Conquer Live and Reloaded. All 4 of these are actually pretty fun games, so if you get a chance to try them out, go for it. You can't use the physical copies, though those are still backwards compatible on a Series X, and they play just as well, if not sometimes a little bit better than on here. But they are including them digitally with your pretty much all the Game Pass versions, so you should have access to try it. You get up to 4 times resolution upscaling, VSync support, full screen and window display modes, anisotropic filtering, enhanced anti-aliasing. They added achievements, which is kind of fun. And then they also found that there's an Xbox 360 emulator that they're running this on. So it's an emulator of the 360 running an emulator of Xbox, which is how it works on the actual hardware, which is kind of funny to me. But they're leading to speculation of 360 titles eventually being released, as well as people trying to find ways to sideload 360 games into this official emulator to play on their PCs. So Microsoft might have just given up and handed over the keys of like really good emulation for PC, which, you know what? Fine. If Microsoft's going to fuck up and, forget what they're doing, they might as well just give us some nice goodies. But Steven, what about the bad side to this?
you made this. I made this. Just a week after or a week prior, Kevin LaChapelle, if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, sir.
Mm-hmm.
But the 37-year Microsoft veteran and architect of the Xbox Backwards Compatibility program was laid off this month as part of the massive wave of cuts. So it's just par for the course that you get rid of the guy who was the architect behind the whole thing, and then you're like, look what we did. Don't celebrate that.
That's almost 40 years of technical
Uh,
knowledge and backwards
Plus the fact
compatibility
is
to just
people
do
are
that.
already pointing out um, the Blinks version you're getting is the original, and the Platinum hits actually had more content, performance enhancements, and fixes and
Really?
patches into it. So now you're not getting all that extra content that was fixed
Wow.
in the Platinum hits.
I did not know that. I have to go back and see. I think I only have the original. I'll have to look for that version because I
It
wonder
com-
if it runs different if you're running the disc on the Series X or not. Because normally that's loading whatever version of the game they have on their server to run. You're just using the disc as a
yeah,
verification. So I'm wondering if that's giving you that because they usually give you all the content.
yeah. Who knows?
Huh. Yeah, I didn't even know. Thanks,
Because of
Steven. You
the
just made me think of games worse.
because of the box arts they showed off, people looked into it, and people were pointing that out specifically about Blinks because the other ones didn't change much when they went platinum. But they're like Blinks specifically did.
I don't I don't think any of the games, regardless of which version you put in, ever show that version.
Yeah,
So I don't know if there's like unless there's specifically content missing that can be proven. I just wonder if they're just going with their general artwork of the box because that's what they normally do.
because
So
this was still prior to when they could release patches really for games, so they still just re-released them.
yeah,
So
it was the early days of that because I think Splinter Cell got some updates. Um, I know I know some of the Mech Warriors did, but that was all based around the multiplayer side of it. So yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they're doing this. Any supported version of backwards compatibility is great. Like that's a good move, but you don't start it and right after you lay off the architect of all of it. Because I
they're
was
like, cool.
hoping
If we
this would
interview the guy
grow.
who created this, yeah, here's his phone number. He doesn't work for us.
I mean, I know people complain like, "Oh, it's only 4 games." Like, yeah, this is a beta. This is what they're starting with. You have to test the waters, and I think this is a good selection of games. Fusion Frenzy is great for 4-player multiplayer, so that makes sure that's supported and working. Crimson Skies has always been a little bit rougher for how it runs on Series X and things. It's one of the
It's
few games that
unfortunate because it's
it's
my
such a
favorite.
good game.
It's my favorite of the four mentioned here.
Yeah, go back and play it if you can. It's everywhere on the Series X, and it's still fun to play, even if it doesn't run as smoothly as some people want it. And I think some people are being a little too picky, honestly.
Um, because
Blinks the
yeah,
Time
in terms of
Sweeper,
versions, like Conquer looks really nice, but it is heavily censored.
yeah, Conquer though is the more graphically intense test bed, which is
Yeah,
why I was like, okay, I get why you're doing that because it's pushing the most effects and the most things at the same
yeah.
time. Um, I would we'll never see it because of licensing, but I'd love to see like the version of Half-Life 2, how it runs on this emulator, or Doom 3. Doom 3 we could see because they own Activision, they own everybody. It's like with Hasbro till all are one.
Unless they fired the guy from id Software that worked on that one.
There you go. So I'm sure we'll see more games, and because of the 360 tie-in, I'm sure we'll start seeing some of those games. And also, I just kind of hope people can get a hold of this and get a better emulator for these systems, and find a way for us to use it. I'm Screw it. Let piracy reign at this point. I don't care. It's great for preservation, and the more these companies move away from discs and other stuff, we have to do it our damn selves. You know,
We'll show them what a Sea of Thieves look like.
not a Skull and Crossbones though. We won't do that. We'll do Sea of
No,
Thieves.
that's quadruple A.
Oh God, that's such a. As much as you and I collect, I think it's still safe to say neither of us have a copy of that game, right?
I actually tried to get it for $5 and it sold out.
I kind of wonder if we should just make a rule that we will never have it in our collection, just to see if we can avoid it, or should we just try and add it? And if we do, we should do it at the same time.
We should see who can pay less for it.
Oh, that's a good one.
And it can only be a single digit. If you went into the double digits, you automatically fail.
Yeah,
You've paid too much.
$10 is too much. I think 5 is too much. I think we need to try and get it for less than 5.
Well, okay, but at the time they had the discount on Woot, so I think it was like $2.99, and I was like, Dang it.
That's okay. No, that's pushing it. That's a good one. That's a good challenge. We will try and find the cheapest
I
way.
was like, that's a bag of Doritos. So I was like,
And trading doesn't count. If you trade for it, it's the
correct.
cost of whatever the game is.
Yeah.
So
So
I think we have that as a fair thing. I'm gonna see if someone will just give me a copy.
hold you up at
uh,
gunpoint. Are you robbing me? No, I'm giving you this game. Take it or die. Okay, I'll take it.
oh, such a bad pirate game. That's the best way is just to give it away. Don't even steal it. Just give it to someone. Oh God. All right, let's go over and talk about a couple trailers for from San Diego Comic Con that we've watched that I wanted to talk about.
Breaking news!
Oh, something new? What came up?
David Johnson will play T'Challa's grown son in Black Panther 3, hitting
Hmm.
theaters December 15th, 2028. And the other one is Ryan Gosling will officially join the MCU in Marvel Studios' Ghost Rider. Doesn't say whether he is Ghost Rider or not, though.
I could see him as a Johnny Blaze.
I could too. I just wonder why they didn't want to say that if he was Ghost Rider or not. But
Yeah.
like, okay.
Also makes me wonder if they'll bring back what's his name is Mephisto. Crap, I'm blanking on his name. Borat, the guy that played Borat.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name. I feel so bad right
Sarah
now.
something Cohen. Sasha
Yeah,
Cohen? I
huh?
don't know.
Sasha Baron Cohen. Yes,
There you
thank
go.
you. I was like, I can remember all these roles he did, but I can't remember his damn name. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I'm terrible with names. So yeah, they'd have to have Mephisto involved in that. And I hope they bring him back because he was actually a pretty good devil. But yeah, Ghost Rider is one that I like. It's curious that they are going back potentially to the original Ghost Rider versus some of the later ones. Like I like the modern one. They've done a really good job with him. The guy that's got the looks like a Dodge Charger, and he's got more of the angular skull, almost like a mask, but it's part of his face.
Yeah.
That's been a fun design. They ran with it a really good live action version um, that was during Agents of Shield,
And now
and
it's
is
in
the
Marvel Toy Consoles.
yeah that's the version they're using for that as well. So yeah, Ghost Rider is one of those characters that I think they've actually gotten him well done for like the three major ones they've done. So because you got Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, and then oh, what's the uh, I'm blanking on the name of the third one. That's gonna kill me. I don't want to. Yeah, I'll have to figure it out in a little bit. But let's go ahead and jump into our first trailer that we were going to talk about, and that is for the series Lanterns. I put our list of trailers in chronological order of what we're going to see first. So this one comes out August 16th. It's going to be an HBO Max series. It's got Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, Aaron Pierre as John Stewart, Ulrich Thomason as Sinestro, and Nathan Fillion returning as the ever lovable Guy Gardner, that bowl cutted asshole, which is great. Um, this series is being done as a detective series with an already aged and established Hal Jordan and his job to train the new potential Lantern in John Stewart. They work to solve a series of murders while also having involvement in the Manhunters, which I don't know. Steven, are you familiar with the Green Lantern comic books at all?
I am not.
Well, time to learn. So I absolutely love Green Lanterns. They did an entire year event of a story they called in Brightest Day or Blackest Night, and then they did in Brightest Day, which is a sequel to it. For one full year, it covered every comic book. So I bought every single issue that not only was part of the main story, but every side issue for an entire year. There's a full long box dedicated to one story in chronological order. I'm never doing that again. that was that was a challenge. I'm done. But it was great. So the Manhunters, the Guardians of the Universe were the little blue guys that you see that created the Lantern Corps. They're the ones that live on the
Yeah.
planet Oa. They run the main Lantern battery. Before they made the Lantern Corps, they made a series of almost like android robot type things, somewhat biological, somewhat not, called the Manhunters, which were their space police. And the problem with them is they became violent and tried to overthrow them, and they ended up having to put them down. And that's when they made the Lanterns, because they wanted actual people or living creatures to to do this. And so the Manhunters have been coming back over the decades as kind of like a foil for a lot of the Lanterns to fight with them. So I like the fact that they're bringing them in here, and you see a little bit of them during the trailer when that creature, whatever, changes into the larger alien for a second. You see from the back, they had like the little cross design of some of their uniform that popped up, and I thought that was kind of a nice little Easter egg in there. So, not knowing Green Lanterns, I'm kind of curious your thoughts on your interest in this. Like, what do you think it's? Is this something you might want to actually watch? Did it catch your interest at all? Good or
It's
bad? I'm just curious.
because they're not doing the, you know, where they never use their powers type thing, thankfully. Because that's what I was worried about when I first saw just the picture. I was
Hmm.
just like, okay, it's just supernatural with a tinge of green, and then
I
and
like
then
that.
and then like you watch the trailer and you're like, okay, no, like they're taking it seriously. They're not trying to show a different side where he just like never dons the suit or never uses any powers, and he's just like, I'm too old for this and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll give that a shot. Like I gave even the Green Lantern movie a shot. Um, and, and I just want to say, because yes, I recognized him as soon as I saw the trailer. I had to look up the actor's name, and his name is Garrett Dillahunt. He is in so many TV shows. He's never the main character. He used to be in Raising Hope back in the day, but he's so many characters that as soon as you see that face, you're like, I've seen that guy before. And he was in Sarah Connor Chronicles for Terminator.
Uh-huh.
That's where I remember him last. He's been random characters elsewhere in other like big shows that I would have to look up. But as soon as I saw it, I had to look it up, and I'm like, "Yep, the bearded guy they talked to, who's just like, this is bigger than you ever knew." I was
Hmm.
like, "That's Garrett again." And sure enough, Mister I'm Everywhere side character guy.
Nice.
So I was just like, "Okay, maybe I'll even watch it just for him."
Yeah, I'm really curious about this one because I like the fact, like, so the way they're doing the new DCU, we're jumping into it already established. It's almost like it's kind of like when you're a kid, you can never really get in on the ground floor of comic books. No matter, like, you might be able to start a story and go from there if you're lucky, but most of the time when you're a kid, you just pick up an issue and you go. You're just diving into the universe and you go from there. And they're kind of doing that with the movies now. We're not seeing all these origins of people. Some of these people, like friggin' Hal Jordan, he's got miles on him. Like he is growing older. He's getting a little more jaded. Not a joke about the fact he's the Green Lantern, but you know, and like you were talking about, worried about him not using his powers. He's using them, but he's had them for so long. It's just nonchalant. He'll might use them for a little bit of a joke or doing whatever. Like there's a scene in another trailer that wasn't in this one where he actually just made money, and John Stewart's like, "Are you seriously about to try and pay the bill with that?" Like he's just like, well, "It's green, like I can do that." And you see a
Yeah,
little bit of that in the
and
trailer.
I'll always remember him from, even though I never watched it, I just kept seeing his face on it. Was Friday Night Lights.
Oh, yeah, he was the coach, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the coach. He was always front and center. So I was just like, hey, he's a coach. I wonder if he'll make that joke somewhere.
See, I never
Like,
watched that show that much, so I
like
remember it.
by
But
darkest Friday Night Lights.
nice. Keep on to burp. Um, so we're kind of seeing, the latter days of Hal Jordan as John Stewart picks up, and John Stewart, like Hal Jordan's the one I grew up with as a kid. John Stewart, I did read some of his stories back in the day, and I really liked him. He really came to prominence as the Green Lantern of the Justice League animated, like that series, and it was always one of my favorite characters. He was such fun to have, and I like that they're bringing him in now. So we're kind of getting the best of both worlds with that, which is great. If you're familiar with the comics, and I don't think this is too much of a spoiler for some people, but Hal Jordan eventually loses his mind. And
Daddy, who's Parallax? Okay.
there you go. Yeah, his main city gets absolutely obliterated. He loses his shit, takes a bunch of rings from a bunch of different lanterns, and is taking control of Parallax, and becomes that character, and they have to fight him. So I'm wondering if they're going towards that, which could be an interesting take to do because we've never really seen a good version of that done in a movie, be it animated or live action. And there's been some good Green Lantern stuff before,
Yeah.
other than the live action movie, which I will give them credit. They got Kilowog right. And that's what I want to see in this movie is a damn good Kilowog. I want to see that. I want to hear him say Poozer at least once. That's what he calls everybody. Hey, what's up, like little Poozer? That's his name for people because he's such a chill character. Like I love Kilowog. I've got his figure in the other room on my shelf because I just absolutely love that guy. So I hope they bring him in and do him right. Plus, he always gave Guy Gardner so much shit. Like so,
Yeah.
just giving Nathan Fillion that much shit would be great to watch. So that's cool. So you're interested in seeing it. I'm excited to see it. I think that's a thumbs up for that one. All right, let's move on to our next one. All right, next trailer is Resident Evil coming September 18th. This is the one I was most iffy about and then turned my decision when I actually saw the trailer. Um, this is directed by Zach Kreger, who did Weapons, which is a phenomenal movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Creepy as shit, but so well done. It's starring Austin Abrams, who was in The Walking Dead. He was also in Weapons as one of the side characters, a bunch of other stuff. The movie follows Austin Abrams as a medical courier that is sent to Raccoon City General Hospital to deliver a package during what we find is the first night of the Resident Evil Raccoon City incident. So all shit is starting to break loose as he's going into town. They did make it very clear no video game characters will show up. And I'm actually happy about that. I was a little concerned, but they used it for some fun stuff in the previous Resident Evil series, and we'll air quote the Resident Evil because they're fun. I like them. Boy, they are out there. Like they make the
Yeah.
games look sane. But I don't think that's going to stop us from having references to things as he goes through the city, which I'm hopeful for because if you think about that first night or first day or so of the Raccoon City incident, that's going to be the end of the original Resident Evil game or a little bit afterwards. And it's going to be the beginning first day of RE2 and the beginning of RE3 as well, because they kind of happen similar timelines. So there's a lot of incidents around the city that could happen. I would love to see, like, I don't need to go to the Raccoon City Police Department, but I would love to see it in the background and see the helicopter crash into it. Because, like, you'd be like, oh, damn, that helicopter, he could be a whiles away from it and have it happen. Or maybe the truck from the beginning of Resident Evil 2 that, hits Leon and Claire's car as they get out and it starts the game and you choose your character. It'd be cool to see like that truck driver go by and like maybe just miss the guy or he's having, sees it happen and runs the other way. There's so many other little things you can have happen without having the characters, but referencing that you're in this world. And some of the conversations with the director kind of make me hopeful for that because he is wanting to explore the outer rim of what happened in those stories. Because he said the games do the characters right, and that's how they should be portrayed. He just wants to be able to play in that world, like in that playground, without dipping into those, but be around them. What were your thoughts with this trailer, Stephen?
So I liked it since the teaser, and I was following some people who were, talking about it afterwards, their
Mm-hmm.
reactions and stuff, and um, it's basically giving us more of like, what about everybody else who had to go through this incident? So this is a really nice way of putting it because we're already getting our action and stuff from the other stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
having more terror and horror here works a lot better. Um, I don't mind if there's Easter eggs or homages to show off like stuff that we're familiar with. I do not want to see any kind of tyrant though or anything like that because I don't
Okay.
want to see the more out there stuff. I want him to keep it grounded for now because again, because it's just a courier. I
He's not
put
gonna be able to fight anything. I'm not expecting that.
showing him off at all would just mean like you're never going to see him because it's just that.
Yeah.
But you can still do the zombies. You can still do the dogs. That's fine. Um,
And I
you
don't
know,
want anything like, highlighting like, oh, this is what we're doing and pay attention to it. I just think it would be fun background stuff. Like he could focus on a big crash or the helicopter crash, but not be like a story beat or something, just see
yeah,
it.
it's kind of like the way she just says like, oh, you're delivering it to Raccoon City. Like it's stuff like that where
Yeah.
it's just cool to hear and they can reference it, but you don't necessarily need to show it. You
I
can
need to
just be
go
like,
back. Oh,
if they're telling him like, hey, um, the I can't because he literally says in the trailer he can't get a hold of the police. Maybe it's because the helicopter crashed into it and stuff like
yeah.
that. So like all kinds of stuff there, or he could have it that the road's blocked off and he's like has to make a detour and he's just like, what happened? Apparently a tanker like crashed there and stuff like that.
I'd be happy with that. Yeah, even if I
Just to
can't
say
see
that
it.
is perfect for me. Like I don't even need to see it. If he just says like, "Oh, this is why I can't go that way," everybody's just like, "He's referencing Resident Evil 2," like type
I,
stuff.
I would be happy with that. Like I would love to see a visual like background detail or something. Like it would be kind of fun, but even if they mentioned it, that would be good. Now in the trailer, if you go back and watch it, there were Resident Evil references. The box of shells is the box you find in the game. It's the same
Yeah,
company
and they
in
showed a
green, and
typewriter on the
yeah,
table
and the
too.
typewriter, that was an obvious reference. But like
Oh
the
yeah,
shotgun box of shells was from the game.
it was
The
green.
shotgun mounted on the wall is just
Yeah,
like it was in RE1. What'd you say?
and yeah, and the box was green for the
Yeah, I think
shotgun
it even
shells.
had the same logo and everything on it.
Probably
Stuff like
something.
that, like it makes it like, hey, you're in the same world, so there should be connections because just existing in the world, like if he passes a gas station, it should be a brand of gas stations we have seen. There's been a couple of them that we've seen in Raccoon City. That would just
Yeah,
that's not fan service. It's being accurate to that world, is what I feel. So that would be great. Um, which I guess the technology and stuff should be. This should be what 1997 is when the Raccoon City incident was. So you know, most cell phones shouldn't exist. Um, computers will be the more simple versions of them. We shouldn't have like high end
yeah, and
stuff.
and like this one, even watching it, like even especially when you watch it with headphones, it gives you that feeling of dread, and that's what you wanted when you wanted to watch Resident Evil. You didn't want to, if it wasn't animated, you didn't want to see somebody like doing a jump kick to a dog or finding out
Yeah.
his best friend turns into the tyrant. Sorry, spoilers for the worst series out there, but anyway,
Oh man. Um, I was like I said, I was initially a little worried because the first teaser was interesting, but given the previous Resident Evils, I'm like, are they going to nail it? And they've had a couple of the animated movies that have tried to be more game accurate, and they ended up being really corny because they were tied more towards RE4 than anything else. Leon's a
yeah, and I
badass type
didn't.
things.
I'll probably eventually own it because I have to own video game related things. But then, like a lot of people did not like how they did Welcome to Raccoon City. So
Yeah, I need to get that one too. But I'm excited for this one. The trailer has definitely got me turned around on it. Did you read the story that they almost killed Austin Abrams while filming the scene of the zombies falling out of the buildings?
no,
They were dropping actual dummies and things down, and they waited a good amount. And the timing, one of them launched early and missed him by like an inch or two. And they were like, the weight of it and the velocity of it probably would have killed him. And they said, yeah, we're going to have it in the film. Like it just missed him. And he's like, yeah, we were like, we could try and do it again. And the guy said no. And I'm like, I would be just thankful you didn't just kill someone. Like, I want an accurate Resident Evil, but not that accurate. Please don't kill everybody. So yeah, good on that one. That's another one I want to see. All right, let's move on to our third one. All right, our next movie is Clayface. This one's coming October 23rd. This is another one that I was very curious about how they were going to handle it, and because Clayface is one of my favorite Batman villains, but I like how this has gone. This is directed by James Watkins, who did Eden Lake, The Woman in Black, and Speak No Evil, and starring Tom Rhys Harries as Matt Hagen. Um, this is actually some of the first steps, other than a couple of references in Creature Commandos, where they showed Batman as an outline during an animated scene, and they had Clayface in his final form involved in that story because it takes place later in the timeline. This is however much time before that as his
Yeah.
origins. If you're not familiar with the story of Clayface, there was actually three different ones over the decades. This one seems the most reference to Batman the Animated Series Clayface, which is my favorite version. That's the one that combined the movie star stuff with the name of Matt Hagen. The story in that one was he got into a car accident, which scarred his face, ruined his career. He went to Roland Daggett, which was one of the big mob groups that was there. He also was running like illegal medical companies and stuff, and they made this material that you could use. He'd put on his face, and it would let him remold it back to his original face. And he was trying to get his career back. When he was betrayed by Daggett, they went to go put a hit on him, and when they were torturing him, they decided to kill him. They decided to do it by overdosing and pouring that stuff onto him. And they just poured buckets of it onto him, and he absorbed it, and it ended up changing him into like this living clay. And he learned how to control his shape, and he could become different people of different sizes, um, all kinds of different stuff that ended up happening with Clayface over the decades. And it seems like they're doing a version of that here, where the facial scars come from a hit happening with the mob who slice his face up and scar him up pretty good. And there's another doctor that is experimenting that tries to give him the medicine to help, but it seems like it's having side effects. And I don't know if either he overdoses or someone messes with it, but they really play into the body horror on this one, which is great. I think this should be that way because it has so much potential for it. Because he's trying to learn how to control his body. He's melting, he's coming apart, and he's trying to figure it out. The whole scene of like his eyes starting to close up and he's having to take scissors to cut it open. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna like watching that. I don't like body horror, but I'm gonna watch this. Um, what were your thoughts on this one?
I thought it was pretty good just because it harkened back to the the darker story that they
Mm-hmm.
showed even in the animated series and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah, Feet of Clay was such a great episode.
so I think that was well put together, and the fact that they looks like they took a lot of inspiration from that. I think it'll be good, and the fact that this and Lanterns, as well as if they have to use a certain character that is the correct actor. It's just nice that they're making it so it can kind of be its own story, and it doesn't necessarily, have to have an after credits or have to have a connection. You'll just be like, oh, if he shows up again, though, it'll be Tom Rice Davis, Harry's. So
Yeah, it's. I know there's some confusion over the whole thing. This Clayface is tied to the actual DCU, so it's not
yeah,
tied to the other Batman movie that's being made, which I'm glad they're letting him at least continue that one because it is fun, but that's not the one that they're having in the main one. Out of the Trinity that they have on DC, which is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, we have a Superman, which I really like. Um, we've had hints towards Batman. There's been mentions of Gotham City. He's been technically shown during Creature Commandos, which is canon for this. Wonder Woman's been referenced, but we've not seen her. Um, but there has been discussion during Creature Commandos where he mentions Batman, so he does eventually face him. I don't think we'll see Batman in this one. I think this is going to be, at most, he might be like a late movie reference or see somebody maybe reading a story of it or something. But I'm not expecting it to. I think it will survive on its own, but still be part of the series, like a single issue
I
comic
think at
type thing.
most we might see if they're if they decide to connect it, to if things change and they connect it to the Robert Pattinson the Batman, then we'll see like a character from the police force like show up, and we'll be like, okay, now we know it's the same. But otherwise, like they might introduce a character that way too, saying now at the last episode maybe you get to see Commissioner Gordon, stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And, well, this is not a TV show. This is a movie. So this is an actual theatrical run one. So, and Gunn did clarify this is not part of the Pattinson. This is the DCEU. So it will not have, their Commissioner Gordon and stuff like that. If one shows up, it'll be the one that's cast for that universe. Which, like I said, I'm glad they're still doing the Pattinson one. They're treating it as like what they call Elseworld stories. Um, which the closest for that for Marvel is the What If, where it's similar characters but different scenarios. It's like separate from
Yeah.
the main story, and I'm glad that they're clarifying that so they can kind of have fun with it. And if a director does want to come in, say like he wanted to make this Clayface and didn't want it connected, if it was approved, he could do that and have it treated as an Elseworlds and still be able to explore it how he wants to. So it's not limiting people where it has to be tied to it. He
Mm-hmm.
wants it to be, so that's why he's doing it that way, which is nice. Um, I like the preview they had originally where like his face was melting and he wiped his face and all that stuff. But this one you see him like getting beat by people, and I don't know if he's either just not fighting back or that he doesn't know what's going on, but you see him like punch him in the face and his whole face guts in and like slides sideways and starts coming back. And I was like, that's going to be great as that goes.
Yeah.
And as he figures out, and I wonder, like, because you're familiar with what Clayface looks like, at least from the animated series, right?
Yeah.
The big, muddy looking creature. And that's kind of what he looks like in Creature Commandos. So that's going to be what he becomes. And I'm really hoping to see some kind of transition into that. Like I hope they play well with that where it goes. Fun fact though, cause they try and keep whoever's playing the role in live action to voice them in animated, but Clayface has been the one exception because the animated version is voiced by Alan Tudyk. Because he's also the voice of Clayface from the Harley Quinn cartoon, which those are not the same character. And I'm sorry, people, I get it. I love that version of Clayface. He is hilarious, but that whole show is not
You
meant to be
can't take
taken
him
seriously.
serious if you hear them.
Yeah,
If
it's
Alan Tudyk was Clayface or something like that.
yeah. Because Alan Tudyk has actually played a DC villain, Mr. Nobody, in a different show as well. So he's already played a couple roles. But yeah, he's voicing the animated one. They are separate takes. It is not people for some people were expecting this one to be like a comedy, and like you're not gonna get that. You're not you're not getting that at all. You're gonna watch some body horror and some terror going down. All right, let's go into our next one. Blade Runner 2099. This is a series coming out on Amazon on November 25th. It's a series that follows the 1982 Blade Runner and its 2017 sequel, Blade Runner 2049. I'm going to ask you right off the top, Steven, are you familiar with Blade Runner at all?
Yes, and I don't
Oh,
care
okay,
about this.
cool.
I don't care about this in the slightest because I like the series that borrowed from it instead.
What series is that?
Snatcher.
There you go. I figured we'd get at least one good Snatcher reference in here. So if you're familiar with Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, 2049, I don't want to go too much in the ending, but it does kind of evolve the replicants a little bit with what's going on. They're both absolutely great movies to watch. Get them in 4K. They're gorgeous tour de forces for visual effects and a lot of that stuff for HDR. And they are some of the best movies to show off on OLED. I'll tell you that right now. They're hauntingly good. This is how much I
Get
like
the
those.
game on Switch for $1.99 today.
Oh yeah, I forgot there was a game.
It's point
I
and
think I
click
had
and
that
it's
on
horrible.
PC.
It's
Yeah.
point and click and it runs horribly.
Yeah, I might just find the PC version and emulate that. But this series follows the aftermath with the replicant uprising, where humans have become second-class citizens. But the replicants now are aware of their end-of-life dates. Before they didn't know, and they were just trying to survive and find a way to extend it. But just like humans, they didn't know what day they would die. The replicants now do know, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, great, they know that, but now they're also having to live with the fact they know it. So Michelle Yeoh is playing a replicant Blade Runner who's hunting down other Blade Runners that have gone rogue. She is aware of her very soon upcoming end date, and it's like messing with her, and she's having to deal with that. Because how would you deal with knowing the day you're gonna die? Like, that would be such a mind fuck, I think. Um, and I'm really curious to see, because Michelle Yeoh, I love so many of the things she's been in and what she does. So I think she's going to be really good for this role. But now we also have humans. There's a one woman who is actually hiding as a replicant. Like, she's trying to be a human, to be act like a replicant and be passed off as such. So that's kind of a flip on the original movie, where replicants were trying to hide as people, and people, they were trying to find it. So I'm iffy on how this is going to go. Michelle Yeoh is a huge selling point, and it looks like visually they're sticking to a lot of it. But sequels to stuff this big, like, they got, I think, almost lucky of how well 2049 continued the story and finished it off. They very, very easily could have botched it. And a lot of movies, when they do sequels after that much time, do.
This could turn out to be Rings of Power.
Oh God, I hope not. I I would be
Amazon.
fine. What was the Aliens TV series that was what was it called? It was the one we had, I think, like late last year. Um, that ended up actually Alien Earth. That was actually really good. That was a nice continuation side story that I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. You pulled it off. I'm excited to see more. I'm really hoping for that. God, I don't want Rings of Power because I don't even like the idea behind that when they're just messing with it. We shall see. So I'm
Didn't that one get
hopeful.
another season reveal? I think
Which one?
this week. I think that got another season reveal this week. Rings of Power.
I'm gonna try really hard not to see, just ignore that. You got my hopes up for a second. I thought you were talking about Alien Earth. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. They're showing season 2. Never mind. Yeah. They're That's when an IP holder just runs with a story they really shouldn't and ignores what came before it. And if you're going to tell a different tale of it, don't try and make it canonical, because it's not your story to do that with.
Yep. Just because you're
So,
like, we own the rights now, we can play with it. No.
and that's, yeah, I get it. The author is dead, but he wrote so many books explaining all this stuff. You have reference. You can't just say, well, I didn't know. All you can say is, oh, I can't read. And that's the
That
best you
doesn't
got.
apply to me because I can't read.
God dang it. All right, so move on to our last little one here.
The last little one.
Yeah, it's a little summer or Christmas film. It's gonna be a Christmas movie. Avengers Doomsday, coming December 18th. Uh, the general term, everybody already knows about this movie, but multiple Earths from different universes have started to slam into each other during what's called incursions that force heroes and villains from all the other worlds to cross paths and fight to survive. We're going to see the Fantastic Four, the X-Men from the Fox universe specifically, the Avengers, the new Avengers with a Z, among others, going up against the destruction of their worlds with the rise of Victor Von Doom, aka Doctor Doom, for those uneducated that don't know, played by Robert Downey Jr. I was very iffy about uh, Robert Downey Jr. playing this role because he was so cemented in his Iron Man, and I was kind of worried how they would do it. I got to give him credit. That's not a terrible accent. He's
I'm a
actually
dude
trying.
playing a dude trying to be another dude.
I I'm gonna wait and see what it is. I'm excited for what I'm noticing. There's a lot of little details and touches. Loki's playing a bigger deal in this, which is great after the Loki series, which was another one that I really liked. I thought he's had one of the better redemption and actual stories of the Marvel universe, of like, from being one of the best villains who managed to continue to be a good villain. He wasn't just dead in one film. He kept coming back and being annoying, just like Loki should, and then ended up having his turnaround and everything happening and finding his place. And it was such a good story for that, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But this is going to be followed up by Secret Wars, which is definitely different than the Secret Wars I grew up on, which was a great story, and I've seen some good adaptations of that. That's originally where the black suit came from for Spider-Man, and that's one of the first times I remember ever having a smart Hulk, because for some reason on that world, Banner's intelligence was in the Hulk's body, dealing with that as it kind of degraded over time, all kinds of stuff. This is one where all these parts of the worlds from the incursions, Doom becomes what's called God Emperor Doom, where he gets the powers of Beyonders and some other stuff, and takes, I think, like 43 chunks from different planets and merges them all together into what he calls Battle World. And this is pieces like countries and cities and stuff from the different worlds all jammed together, trying to fight to survive, and him kind of ruling over it and dealing with it. That's where this is leading. So I don't know. It's gonna be a big Avengers movie. I just want to see it. And I don't know, Steven, what were your thoughts on the trailer when you saw this one?
Um, I was excited, especially of how they were handling some of the characters either returning or showing up. Um, Especially one fight that they showed that I was just like, so glad they used you again.
You talking
Because
about Gambit and Shang-Chi? Yeah, buddy.
I don't care about Shang-Chi that much. I was like,
Oh, I
damn it!
love Shang-Chi. It was such a good movie.
But anyway, um, then throughout that, I was just like, okay. And then my wife and I had thoughts, and I watched some reactions where they had kind of similar thoughts in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But then I looked deeper, and there's two theories. One kind of sucks, and one is amazing.
Oh, I want to hear it.
So the one that sucks,
Uh-huh.
it both involves, and I'm sorry if you didn't watch the trailer yet, guys, but it's not a spoiler because it's a trailer.
Yeah, it's publicly
Um,
released. Go look it up on YouTube. You can pause it right now, go watch it, and come back.
okay, you have three, two, one. Okay, so at the end you see Steve Rogers,
Yes.
and he's got his beard, and he takes Mjolnir. Actually hovers towards him. He doesn't pick it up; it hovers towards him,
Which
like
I
it
love
did
the
in
fact that
Avengers.
people going, oh, look, Thor's using two-factor authentication.
So when you see that, some people are just like, oh man, like they spoiled that already. They could have done so much more with it. And the two theories are like, hold on. The bad theory
Mm-hmm.
is that Steve Rogers is Hydra Steve Rogers, and
Captain Hydra. Yeah.
he's a Skrull, and he's using mystical magic and to be able to hold Mjolnir, because the way he holds it, he chuckles, and he's got like a dark stare looking down, and he's not acting like the Steve Rogers we know. Like that's not America's ass. So um, there's that one. The one I really like, because then when you watch the trailer again, it makes so much more sense. Is that's Loki, and Loki can carry Mjolnir because of the sacrifices he made in the previous movies to save people, and stuff we did with the TVA. And then you have the fact that you see the card, Loki's card, and there's a ring on his finger, and I was like, everybody's like, that's Steve Rogers' wedding ring, and he's sitting in a room that's where Steve Rogers was at one point.
Right.
Like he went to that point in time, and he's just like, I need to embody Steve Rogers to help get everybody on board or something like that. But whatever it is, I absolutely love the theory that that's Loki, and I hope that's to be true. I hope we're getting a misdirect that everybody thinks, oh, Chris Evans just like showed up, early, and they just blew their load early. It's like, no, 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 that's Loki.
So some of the theories I've thought, for one, the Hydra Cap would not be a Skrull. It would actually be a version of Steve Rogers. And even in that world, he was worthy to hold Mjolnir, but it's because their version of worthy on that universe was kind of fucked up. It was more about like power and so forth. But we don't know how that would translate towards the hammers.
Yeah, and the reason they did the other one that they said he was Hydra and a Skrull is because they were like, then it works perfectly with Secret Wars. And I was like, guys, we don't even have a trailer for Secret Wars, so we don't know if they're going to continue from the horrible AI intro and ending version that
Oh
we
God.
saw that gave us the fact that is making us question that uh, War Machine Rhodes was a scroll all along, because when he touched Iron Man last in the Avengers and said goodbye, my friend, is he was basically using that to take his form later on, stuff like that, and learn everything. So I
Yeah,
was just like,
that's the only series I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, it's unsalvageable. Can we just cut it? Like,
so like that one like messes with stuff. So I was just like, it'll be interesting to see if they retcon something. So,
because that I hated that one because if you played it out to its full extent of what people thought how long Rhodes was a scroll, that means when Tony died, it wasn't his best friend there with him, it was just some other thing.
yep,
And you're just like, that hurts so
fuck.
badly, you know? But my argument for that is like, if he was actually a scroll with everything going down, he wouldn't have been crawling and unable to walk. He'd have been like, fuck this,
See,
and just wander off and
and
leave them
like
to die.
and like that's what makes me think the re-release of the Avengers saga
It's gonna
with new scenes is not scenes that they cut. It's just scenes that they're like, this is how we're making it fit. It's because
oh, I would be
the,
so pissed.
these other shows we're gonna put like this was actually happening, guys. Don't you know?
That'll be a good argument for physical media. It's like, you can't put that shit in my movies. You can't update my Disney Plus. It's right here.
My
Oh,
Little and Stitch has a washing machine, not a pizza box.
my DVD copy does, yeah. So I think that is Steve. I think Steve went back and
I
came
don't
back.
want it to be Steve now.
Say what?
I don't want it to be Steve now.
I have to kind of see where it is because Loki's not supposed to be able to leave the chair because he's controlling the trees at the end of this of season 2 of Loki, and he maybe could project, possibly. They could be the illusion of that, and I could see because Thor's reaction, all that is cut. I don't think that's the same sequence. That's going to be so changed, and they're so well known for doing that, of changing where taking people out of trailers or putting the different person there or changing lines or just having it cut in a certain sequence that makes a conversation look like it happened that never did. So him saying that's not possible could have nothing to do with Steve whatsoever. He could be seeing Loki. It could just be Loki showing up and being himself, trying to talk to him, not necessarily having to hide or lie about it. Just come there as his brother.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. But I'm looking forward to it. And it's the most current excitement I've had for Marvel projects in a while.
And,
So
and because Disney doesn't want to use the word IMAX, they're going to call it Infinity Vision.
yeah, it's not the fact that they don't want to; they can't, because another movie is coming out the same day and bought up and got the license for all the IMAX theaters. So, and they even started selling tickets now to prove we're not giving up that date. You're
Yeah.
SOL. So yeah, we're getting Infinity Vision, whatever the hell that's gonna mean. I don't know.
Should have
I
just
just want to
called it
see
WandaVision. That would have been too funny.
that. Infinity Stone Vision. Yeah. Oh man. All right, let's talk about some toys from Comic Con. All right, we're just gonna go through these kind of quick, but Hasbro unveiled the first 3 figures in their newly acquired Legend of Zelda series. They got the rights to do those. We'll be getting 3 6-inch figures for Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, with all of them being taken from the previous Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, specifically. Link will spot his modified right arm from the game. I won't go into detail on that in case you haven't played it. You should. There's a story reason. Zelda is in her past clothing, and Ganondorf appears just as he did in the past as well before becoming what you fight in Breath of the Wild. Link comes with a fully formed Master Sword, the Hylian Shield, optional cape, and the open hand for display, so he can be doing the different actions where instead of a closed hand with a sword, he has the open hand, which is cool. Zelda comes with the broken Master Sword that comes from the opening of the game, as well as a closed hand to hold the sword, so she can actually hold it properly. Ganondorf comes with an optional open hand, as well as a sword with a scabbard for storage, and he's just big. he's
Yeah,
just
he's more expensive than the other two.
he takes more plastic. Like, he's a good head or two taller than the rest of them because Ganondorf's always been huge, so it's fitting that
Um,
they're in scale.
they are open for order, but they don't come out until next May, so you're going to be waiting a while.
Yeah. Uh, I'm eventually going to probably get these. I still have the original Legend of Zelda figures they released from Ocarina of Time, and then I also have the newer ones they did from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But these
Yeah.
are way nicer, I have to say. Like they've done a really good job with them. These are going to be the display quality ones people want. I can already tell. Hasbro Transformers. We had a person-sized light up and open matrix. They also plays music when you open, so you can actually open it and it plays "The Touch" by Sam Bush, which is great. I would be such an ass and just sit here and just keep opening it, close, open it. We knew about this before, but we're seeing more of it. I'm still trying to get a hold of one. They are, if they're out there, they're impossible to find. We're getting a few upcoming Transformers crossover figures, including Scooby Doo's Mystery Machine, that can become any of the four main cast, as well as a partner Scooby Doo transforming tape, which is a box of Scooby snacks that transforms into Scooby Doo, which is such a funny way to take the cassette tape designs of Ravage and make Scooby Doo out of it. Um, there's a Stranger Things WSQK radio station truck called Frequency, as well as his partner 8-Tracks, which is another bird from a tape deck. And then Grim, this is the one that you sent earlier on the Discord, Stephen. It's a Transformers and Monster Jam crossover with the Gravedigger monster truck becoming a new Transformer.
That's
I
not
don't know if I'm going to
all.
get that one. Huh?
But that's not all.
Oh, what else got announced for Transformers?
They unveiled Fallen Leader Optimus Prime flagship robot. The legendary Autobot leader returns. This one will feature the iconic voice of Peter Cullen.
What?
It'll be interactive and include all the authentic movie dialogue, exclusive new voice lines recorded by Peter Cullen, have seamless auto conversion and advanced app controlled movement for an immersive experience.
And it's already going for $1,200 on Entertainment Earth.
I didn't say it was cheap.
Okay, so this is the Robinson Robotics Transformer. It's just the fallen gray dead version of that. Um, I will never afford any of those. I want to so bad, it will never happen. Damn it. Super 7 has got some really good ones. And there's some other versions. I'm hoping for an actual 86 series Optimus from the toy line. Because you got my hopes up. I thought that's what they were finally announcing. I was like, oh, cool, we're getting it. And then I saw the price and went, holy shit, I can't afford that.
Sorry, if it's got all those voice lines and it self transforms, you know it's expensive.
Oh, yeah. Do I want it? Yes. Can I get it? No.
Do you want
I
Optimus
want to go to
Prime?
Comic Con.
Well, at least if you bought Optimus Prime, you're saving $300 than if you bought a Steam machine. So there you go.
It's going to cost me more to get him than to get to Comic Con. I'm not kidding. That's terrible. The plane tickets and the tickets for the show would not cost a combined amount of that Transformer. Hopefully. Oh, Jesus. That's
Yeah.
it's killing me. All right. X-Men 97 is getting a new beast, which looks really nice. He's got his time band, his backpack. I would love if they released a version of him where he had the Howard the Duck shirt with the jacket that he always wears. And I'm glad they brought that back from the old 90s series for the 97. We're also getting a Professor X figure, which I've seen mixed things. Some of them are saying he's going to release like normal. Others are saying right now he is a Comic-Con exclusive, which I really hope not. I hate when they do that, where you cannot complete a series unless you pay to go all the way to Comic-Con every single year without any heads up. Like that's, you can't finish sets that way, or you're going to be paying so much money from scalpers. So I hope this is just a special version of it and that it traditionally will release everywhere else. Don't do this to me. But he has like the little wave effect you can put behind his head that looks like he's using his telepathy to talk to people, which is a nice touch. The hover chair has got like the little guns that pop out, and I don't know if there's any other features, but if you watch the last episode of X-Men 97, you'll know where that comes from. It was actually a pretty good Xavier episode. Laura Tomb Raider Croft is getting a wonderfully modeled G.I. Joe figure of all places for the 30th anniversary of the Tomb Raider series. This features a very original PS1 style costume with a lot of weapons and other accessories, including swappable heads and hands. And yes, she does have her dual pistols.
I ordered mine.
I did not. I'm gonna have to just come across her eventually and see. I was shocked at how good it looks though. Like
Yeah,
it's.
because I need to put it next to my Tomb Raider Barbie that they made. So.
Oh, I forgot you did get the Barbie. That was yeah. That's crazy. It's a nice design though. Like it's a really high
Yeah.
quality figure. And lastly, Marvel Legends. This is one I'm going to try and get. The Sentinel from Marvel vs. Capcom is coming out as an 11-inch tall figure with 20 points of articulation and 11 different effect accessories. And yes, he can launch his hand out and have it on its own stand so it looks like he's shooting his fist across the level, and he can balance to kick his leg and extend it out, just like in the game.
He
So,
is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and he is
mm-hmm.
$100.
Not surprised. He a big boy.
They
Like,
are releasing player two colors of Gargantos and Wolverine. Um, and then I think we're finally getting in a separate pack Iron Man and Spiral. So eventually we're getting everybody. So I'll be looking for that one, but the rest of them are just re-releases because the one with Wolverine is Wolverine and Psylocke because Psylocke people didn't want Thanos, but they really wanted Psylocke. So now you're
mm.
getting Player Two Psylocke, which is more pink. But yeah, there's a whole nother line coming, guys. But
if
the
they
big
do
one
a
is
if
the
they
big
do a
one
player
is
2 of Sentinel, it needs to be the orange one. Like that's the
yeah.
one everybody knows is that orange Sentinel. So I don't know. There's been some good toys this year. Were there any other ones that you saw that you wanted to mention or?
Well, one company got the rights to Doom, but they're just like it's got. We'll show you what we have later type of stuff.
Did you say Doom
Um,
or Dune?
Doom,
Doom.
Doom.
Okay, nice.
The other
Because
ones
McFarlane
were
Toys was doing them.
yeah, because the other ones because I follow a account called Preternia, which has been showing off all this stuff,
Yeah,
and and they have Big Bad Workshop going like all the way back and doing stuff like Tarzan and Jane. Uh, there's Princess of Mars, Deja Thoris. So they're going super old school. There's the Rocketeer is getting a figure.
that's
Um,
another that's another helmet I want to get or end up printing for my collection here in the game room. Is that helmet?
you got the Tick. You have Grey Hulk, Solomon Grundy. Like there's a lot of stuff coming. So, and then like I showed you a few, but like yeah, they're doing a bunch of the Ghostbusters stuff too. So
Yeah, some of the I would like some of the Ghostbusters stuff, but those are going to be so hard to get and they're so expensive. Like I love that it's real Ghostbusters design, and I like the Scare Glow ones, but I cannot afford to get like every one of the vehicles and all the characters, and I'm like, I can't. Like I'm lucky to at least get one of the first re-releases of the real Ghostbusters Ecto One, and I have
yeah,
that on display here. I am looking for, and will try one day. It's going to cost me a few $100s to get my Firehouse back. I used to have it when I was a kid, and when I had to move out, I couldn't take it with me, and my brother got to play with it for a while. He broke a bunch of the stuff. Thanks, Ian. Because I had it complete. It was a whole firehouse with the containment unit, the traps, the working fire pole, everything. Even the sign was still there with the decals, and it got destroyed. And then my grandmother just tossed it, the whole thing, because she was like, "Oh, you're grown. You don't need toys anymore," and threw out a bunch of my Transformers and He Man. And I was like, I would have been happier if you just gave them to a kid or something, not just throw them away. That's such a
yeah.
waste. So I'd like to get my Firehouse back, but if I can't, I've got a nice Ecto One collection and some Ghostbusters now, so I'm happy with that. All right, let's jump over to our last bit of news for this week, which is kind of good. So Paramount, Skydance, and Warner Brothers have to put their $110 billion merger on hold as courts push back and lawsuits mount. So the deal was placed on hold as a federal judge weighs the antitrust lawsuit that has been filed by 12 state attorneys general. And I had to look that up. It is attorneys general, not
Yeah.
attorney generals. Grammatically, that's screwed with me, but it's correct. Paramount has placed the whole deal on hold until at least June 1st, 2027. So we have almost a year before this is going to even set to continue, unless the judge issues a ruling on the antitrust suit before that time. But right now, it seems like that's unlikely, as they're very hesitant. As you know, this is a bad deal all around. I know all of the groups in Hollywood and over there are rallying against this because it's just going to take away so much control and so many options from people, that they're all against it. The Screen Guild of America is against it. Uh, California Attorney General Rob Bonta issued the complaint stating that this deal would, quote, extinguish competition, end quote, in Hollywood, and continued saying, quote, we are eager to continue to make our case in court and celebrate another tremendous win in our effort to ensure this unlawful merger never sees the light of day. Of course, a Paramount spokesperson replied that states the
No.
arguments are, quote, wrong on both the facts and the law, and then continued saying one of the weakest merger challenges in modern antitrust history. Very untrue with that, but whatever. They continued, this is the fastest and clearest way to prove that this transaction is good for competition, good for consumers, and good for creators. A conclusion of dozens of competition, competition authorities around the world have already reached. So, yeah, if this merger went through and they became this large, one of the largest media conglomerates in the world, controlling everything from theater releases to streaming services to physical media releases, gaming, comic books, because they would own all of DC Comics, and everything else. This is not good for competition. This is the Blob eating everybody in a city and going, well, this is great for neighborhood development because everyone's in one place, dissolving inside my pinkish goo. Like, that's not gathering your community. That's killing everything and just becoming bigger. So, do you have any thoughts on this one, Steven? Because I know you love these kind of things.
I just thought it was funny that you're just like, well, you're stupid and ugly, and we're the best. Um,
You can't be
but
right. You're ugly.
like we're just looking at it on the surface. We're looking at it just on the consumer side, while they're having people dig deep and saying like this would have some major ramifications. So good on
Yeah.
them for just being like, no. So
Yeah, so it warms my cold heart to see this put on hold for the time being, and I would love to see the fact they already had to pay billions to Netflix for breaking the deal originally. I would love to see them have to break this deal and pay billions more again to break that deal, and kind of just put them in their place. Like Paramount Skydance is already massive; they already control so much stuff. That needs to be enough, and then Warner Brothers needs to quit shooting themselves in the damn foot trying to be able to merge and sell themselves, and just work with what they have. Like they were such a big studio over a century, and it feels like they're just trying to run it into the ground to just try and get this merger to go through so some people can get checks and move on without giving a damn about any of the history of the movies, the theaters, animation, any of this. And I hate how much corporations control what should be an artistic deal, you know?
mhm.
So that's my thought on it. All right, let's go over to the speed run. Hey, PlayStation Network was down for an extended period of time during the opening of the Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls open beta, which shut down authentication servers for games as well as their online stores for purchases, effectively making it, for a short time, that only games on disc would actually be able to be played for the first time. Right as Sony is still pushing for the fact that digital-only future is better than any other options. I love irony, but yeah, and I know people were arguing, oh, it wasn't down. I could play my digital games just fine. Great. You already had them authorized, so you were given that window. But the fact that they're implementing an every 30-day check-in, which that was not a bug, by the way, that's been quietly put in, and it has to check in every so often, or else you don't get to play the games you own.
It's not a bug; it's a feature.
Yeah, I thought about taking my PS5 and taking it offline for a month or so, like completely cutting it off from Wi-Fi, taking the Ethernet out, and seeing after that time period, can I play the games I've already got digital, which are
You probably
authenticated
look
right
the
now.
same, have the same amount of dust on it.
No shit. I keep buying PS5 games and I still don't boot it up. Uh, See, I don't have to worry about playing that game because I'm just never going to put it on and turn the PS5 on. It's just going to be a shiny case. So, yeah, physical is definitely the way to go. Next up, the Video Game History Foundation has received, digitized, and shared one of the largest information and footage finds about the history of E3. This includes things such as small ticket scans, or as small as like ticket scans, flyers, demo videos, to so much more bigger things, including like Nintendo press demonstration VHS tapes that showed off footage for games that were never available, um, and so much more. Definitely go check it out if you can support them. The Video Game History Foundation is a great place to donate to. They also have a great program where you can purchase old gaming magazines from them that they'll randomly send you different ones. And the money they get from that goes towards helping to fund other things. It's a worthy cause, and you can get some fun finds. So you never know. Next up, When Tides Turn, a new studio formed by Criterion Games co-founder Fiona Sperry, is making Recreation 2 as an open-world arcade racing game sequel to the 2025 original for the PS5 series, Xbox Series, and PC. And this is the closest we will get to a revival of a classic fan favorite Burnout series. So you're looking forward to this one, aren't you, Steven?
Please don't play like Burnout Paradise. Please don't play like
I
Burnout.
like Burnout Paradise, damn it.
Please don't play like Burnout Paradise.
I'm fine with that. Don't. I like
Don't
that
yuck
game.
your yum.
I can appreciate both. I have all the burnouts. I like playing all of them. I think the only one that's, I take it back. It's not even bad to play. It's just funny how weird it is, and that's the DS one. That one's not great, but it's funny to see what they tried.
But yeah, I'm trying to get their. Yeah, oh, there it is. Okay,
What's up?
so yeah, the coolest thing about this was what I hoped would happen when they did their like Patreon funding
Mm-hmm.
and such. Is Three Fields Entertainment got so much support that they finished putting everything they wanted to put into Recreation 1, and they were like, we have enough to kind of break away. So they were like, we're still going to keep releasing stuff for this until we're done with our roadmap with Recreation, but we're no longer known as Three Fields Entertainment. We are now a fully independent studio known as When Tides Turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, and the first game we're going to release is Recreation 2. And I was just like, so far it looks really good because they even used the word takedown. And I was like, I like that. I like that. So I'm
Nice.
excited because this was like a success story that the fans like pushed, that they were like, we want these guys to keep going, and they are now. So
Awesome. The last bit of news, I guess I could have included this with the Comic-Con announcements for movies, but this is so many big ones we're looking forward to. Atari has reached a deal with Universal Studios for the rights to 10 of their iconic game properties, including all of which I can't wait to see in IMAX: Asteroids, Adventure, Berserk, Breakout, Centipede, Crystal Castles, Millipede, Missile Command, Pong, and Yar's Revenge. Um,
they could
yeah.
they could easily do something really cool with every single one of these, except for Crystal fucking Castles, where it's a bear in a wizard's hat collecting gems. What are you guys gonna do? That better be an animated
I'm about to say
movie.
it could be an animated series. Like,
That better be like look so silly like Angry Birds.
I
Because if you
mean, don't
try
get
to
me
make it,
wrong, they made Rubik's cubes into a cartoon when I was a child. Like, they can do things, but we're not in the 1980s mindset of, you know what? Fuck it, let's make it.
everything else I could see a reimagining that would be amazing. But
What the
Crystal
hell would
Castles,
Pong be? Would this be like a new version of like a ping pong game? Like some competition of doing that?
two worlds are colliding, and a pilot in the middle must choose a side or die.
Just getting
I don't
slapped
know.
around. We don't want him. No, you have him. No, I don't want him. You have him. It's a custody battle gone wrong. Two a husband
Or
and
the
wife
ball in the
fighting
middle is a
over who has
bomb
to keep
about
the
to go
child.
off, and the other 2 sides are civilizations fighting to keep it away from them.
Yeah, I want to see the two divorcing parents fighting over I don't want this kid batting them back and forth. Oh
Nobody
God.
wanted Pong. Okay.
Yeah, some of these like adventure, okay, fine. You could do something generic and make it, a medieval thing. They could do something. Breakout's kind of pushing it, unless you're just going by the word breakout, which means nothing compared to it. Like, are they going to sit there and just break out single bricks as they're trying to get through a wall? I don't know. Um, Centipede, Futurama already beat you to the best reference of what they did of an alien invasion, where they had a mix of what was it, a Rush mixtape and a bottle of
Millipede is just faster Centipede in my
right.
eyes.
That's the sequel, obviously. Once you do one, it's millipedes. Centipedes are back.
Please don't do Yard's Revenge like Way Forward did because it's weird.
It is weird. It's very weird. So yeah, I just feels like a series of movies that just shouldn't happen. Like, I know they probably didn't pay much for these. Like, they got the rights to it, but I noticed nobody said in how much that deal was.
They probably found it in a bathroom stall.
They're probably competing for the low cost we're talking about for getting cross Skull and Bones. Like, well, we got asteroids for $1.
We're not gonna show this in IMAX. We're gonna show this in Betamax.
Sounds about right. All right, let's jump over to the big question. So, this week, with the closing of the PlayStation 3 store here in a few months, what are some PS3 only releases or games where PS3 was the best do you recommend people try to get? And this is one that not only do Stephen and I have answers, but we also have answers from some of our listeners. I messaged some people and got responses back over on Threads where most of these came from, but we also message over on Blue Sky, and we usually message on the Discord as well. So, Stephen, we'll start with you. What are some games that you recommend? Or we can just kind of
Okay.
go down our
I,
lists and
I, I
talk.
hope to see echoes of this with other people, but the one I have above all of them is Pain, Pain, Pain. That you know, eventually they released here in a case, but it just had codes inside.
Mm-hmm.
But what other game can you hurt Greg Kinnear, George Takei, and so many other like Andy Dick and so many other characters, and it's just
Andy Dick
fun.
has it coming.
Yeah, nowadays, yep.
Yeah,
Um, so
that
it,
aged
it
well.
it was just something that I was just like, you could have easily re-released this for like $10 on PS5, and I would have bought it day zero.
Could you imagine how
But
big
no,
and complicated the worlds could be now with the newer physics engines? Like, they could have so much fun with that.
yeah. Another one who was ahead of its time, and I enjoyed it. I still have the entire set,
Me too.
and that's Eye of Judgment. Um, I loved playing that with friends. It was really good. It's
Do you have the camera stand still?
yeah,
Yeah, I got that, the playmat. I have the first set and most of the second set.
yeah. So I always made sure to like, because I worked at the time I worked for Wizards of the Coast, the retail store.
Oh, wow.
So any and all cards that were released, I was always like, what is this about? And then I saw Eye of Judgment, and I was like, I'm getting all of these. Um, Another one because of the difference in play styles,
Mm-hmm.
which I really like that they haven't that most games don't do, is Folklore. Really well done series that plays differently depending on if you play as the girl or the guy. So I was like, it's really sweet the way they did that. Um, then we have Heavenly Sword, also known as Pre Le Fay. Um, and this one, I think, is one of Andy Serkis's best performances as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
Because he brought a certain like even sarcasm, as well as just being downright scary in that game. So it's really good. Um,
I'm trying to remember if I picked that one up. I think I have it.
if even and there is a not very good, but there is a movie, Heavenly Sword, that you can get on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
That's all CGI, and I don't think Andy Serkis is in
I
that one.
actually don't have Heavenly Sword. Holy shit, I need to find that.
Uh, and then this one, even if you don't want to play it or if you don't like racing games, you can just listen to it on your main screen on your PS3, and that is MotorStorm with the opening music, the menu music. Um, that game just had countless other ones that were good, except for the PS2 one, and then went on to make a really good game called Onrush that is no longer playable because they turned off the servers. And finally, because this has never come out on anything else, so it's stuck on PS3, is if you took something very weird like World War Z and mixed it with the Yakuza series, not just the Yakuza,
Hmm.
you get Yakuza Dead Souls. So if you've ever wanted to see Kiryu and Majima either as zombies or fighting against hordes of zombies of characters that by now you will recognize,
Really?
it's unlike anything you've seen before, and it's just a really off the cuff zombie thing that just doesn't take itself seriously, but because of that, it has been re-released ever.
Did it ever get a physical release, or is this digital only?
No, it's this one's physical,
I will add that to my list as well. I was not aware of that one. And I love me
but
some zombie stuff, and I'm getting into Yakuza, so. All
so
right.
much.
So for me, the first one I thought about immediately when I think about the PlayStation 3 is 3 Game Heroes. That is probably one of the best, I would say, Zelda like games. It plays very similar to the original Legend of Zelda, but from a kind of 3D above view or, you know, three quarters view. But you can go in and design your character to be whatever you want in a voxel world. So you can make three-dimensional models of Link if you want to. I did one of the A-Team van just because I could, and I was playing the entire game running around as this little black van with the red stripe on it that could swing a sword. It was hilarious. But it's, this is actually, I think this one is a From Software as well,
Yeah, I
which
think
it
so.
never got released anywhere else. They never talk about it anymore. And I just was shocked that we never saw this again. If you can get a hold of it, it's so much fun to play. And it's incredibly beautiful on an HDTV. Like even it scales well now because the whole thing is blocks. Like that's just how everything is pixel art. Um, Next up, I had Child of Eden. When played with Move controllers, I like using that game with motion. The Kinect version is still my favorite to play because it played so well using that device, but that's a whole other thing of trying to get hooked back up for some people. But using the Move controllers on the PS3, I think is the second best way to play it. Um, it's from the same guys that did Res. It's beautiful to play through, great music. Um, it's just kind of relaxing, just flying through and shooting on stuff and doing that with the controllers. I also had Eye of Judgment listed because we have similar and great taste on that one. I still have my whole card set and everything for it. What got me to stop playing is I got really frustrated because I got a hold of the second set of cards and couldn't use them because they never, you had to actually purchase access to be allowed to use the cards that you had to then buy to use. And then they took down the ability to purchase those. So you can't even get the ability to use the cards you buy. And I was like, you guys really took a great idea and shot yourself in the foot with it. So if you play it and enjoy it with the original set, that's fine. Just good luck trying to figure out getting the second set to work without buying that DLC. Was They should have just, if you bought the cards, they should have been available.
Yeah,
Um, this next one's kind of two for one, but Infamous and Infamous 2 are some of the best superhero games that are not tied to comic books. Um, Taking your character and kind of building up their electrical abilities based on your actions, on how you defeat bosses, how you treat people, and follow certain story missions. Let you change your character to be the good or the bad version who gets different abilities. Um, which I had a lot of fun getting at least two playthroughs for this, where I would go all good and then just go all evil. And they do make the game play differently depending on what you do. Like you get different fun abilities. I love the fact, like, eventually, I think on either of them, you could surf the power lines. So you would use that like fast travel to just surf around town, jumping from power line to power line, like a weird Tony Hawk, while then floating and, shooting people with electricity and lifting things. We did get a PS4 sequel, which was a lot of fun, but then the whole series just kind of died. Like it never got remasters. Like we never got HD versions, new ones for those. Um, I really
if you
wish
get
we
the
would have.
European version of First Light, you get a physical.
Nice.
Otherwise, it was only digital here.
Yeah, because that was the DLC, wasn't it?
It was it was for PS4. It was just a prequel
Oh,
to
that's right. It was.
one and
Yeah,
two.
I need to find that one because I know the PS4 normal game. I have that, but the prequel part, I don't think was available. Um, I also included MotorStorm and MotorStorm Apocalypse because those are just so much fun still to play. I love the deformation of the mud and the fact that depending on what vehicle you take, takes different paths, but you're racing against the same vehicles. So if you're on a little bike, you're squirrely and you can go around places, but you can also get your butt just run over by a semi if you're not careful. But you can also go up on the cliffs and take shortcuts that the other vehicles can't fit, which is a really creative way to do that. And you don't see it as much now. Like I said, there was the other title you mentioned, but then they've already shut that down. So kind of killed it. Tokyo Jungle is a very weird game of a post-apocalyptic Tokyo where you're playing as a Pomeranian trying to survive in a city ruled by animals, and you're basically fighting your way up the food chain to try and survive. It's so quirky and so weird. It's a little tricky to get into, but if you can find it, look for what's called the Best of PlayStation Network Volume 1. It's a physical disc that includes this game, but also gives you Sound and Shapes, which is a great game to play, by the way. Fat Princess. I don't know how well that's going to play now. I don't know if the servers are still up for multiplayer. And When Vikings Attack, which is take it or leave it on that one.
What's on
But
Volume Two?
there never was one. Like so many collections that we
What's on
get.
Sega Smash Pack 2?
Once again, we didn't get one.
What's on SNK Arcade Classics Volume 2?
Oh, they did it for that too? Damn it. I thought they actually made two of that one.
No, they didn't.
They never do they ever make it to two? Namco does.
No, because even yeah, no, because SNK eventually released a sequel to it in Japan, and it was called SNK Classics Volume Zero. So they went backwards.
That makes no sense. All right. So that's a good one to get. Tokyo Jungle is one of those quirky games that was really well done for download titles back in the day. Because I think we got really good small creative games back on like Xbox Live for Xbox Arcade. PlayStation Network had theirs. We had WiiWare, and a lot of those titles are just gone unless you can find ways to hack into the systems or the rare chance like this where it got a physical release. And there's a whole collection we should talk about sometime, Stephen, about you know Wii and 360 and PS3 and those systems that are favorite compilations of what is normally a digital only game because there's a bunch of them. There's some really good
Yeah.
ones that way. The last one, this one is digital and will only ever be on PS3. It's such a thing of its time, and that is Nobi Nobi Boy, which is from the crazy mind of Takahashi, who created Katamari Damacy, if that tells you anything. Basically, about this worm like creature that just has to keep devouring and growing until it grows so long it can reach the moon. And it's just, you have to play it to understand it. Like, it makes Katamari Damacy look sane, and nothing does that. And lastly, some of the people online, their responses. We had Plum Rich, Plum underscore Rich. All these are on threads, by the way. That's where I got most of my responses. They also agreed with you, Stephen, for Pain as being one of the games they recommended. VG Generations recommended going through and getting the PS1 and PS2 games, things like Mega Man Legends 1 and 2, various Shin Megami Tensei games like Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, Devil Summoner 1 and 2, as well as Echo Knight, because he pointed out those are going to be going away as well once the PS3 store goes, because PS4 does not have nearly as much support without being streaming only for some of these titles. East Coast Harry 1966 pointed out Resistance 1 and 2, Killzone 2,
Good ones.
and then also recommended Infamous 1 and 2. The Resistance games were not bad. 1 and 2 were really good. I still love that it was Killzone they kept trying to say was like the Halo killer. They were fun, but they were no Halo killers.
Resistance was the closest thing Sony had to Gears of War.
It was. And they did a halfway decent job with like the PSP versions of them too. Like those were actually
Yeah.
fun to play. Once again, they just let it languish. Like they could bring that back and have such a good series for any of these to mess around with. David underscored Jaganu. He also recommended Folklore, even though it ironically never got a PlayStation Network release. Then also pointed out Infamous, Killzone, Resistance, Motorstorm, White Knight Chronicles 1 and 2, and Haze, which he says he feels is overhated. I'm a little back and forth on that one because it killed Time Splitters, so I don't know. It's got my hate for that. I think I do I have Haze? I almost don't know if I even bothered buying it just out of frustration.
You
Do
were in
you
the
have it,
haze when you
Steven?
bought it.
Huh? I
You were
don't
in the
have
haze
Haze.
when you bought it.
Yeah, I do not have
I think
Haze.
I refuse to own it because it was shit.
I do have Lair, which wasn't. It was actually not as bad as everybody hated it because we're more used to motion controls now, and it works okay. But I mean, they did update it to where you can just use sticks, so you can go back and play it. And I think it's one of those games like you can have some fun with it, but it's not going to be, some mind blowing experience. But if you can play it, great. So, but yeah, those are some
Yeah,
of the
it's the last
games.
game. It's the last game from Factor 5. So
I miss Factor 5. I wish they would have released the Star Wars collection on the Wii. God, and that was done, they said. Like, I would have loved to have had those released and actually playable. I wish somebody would leak that. Why can't we get that in a Giga Leak or something? Use hacking for good, people.
sorry, we only get Pit Fighter 2 for Genesis.
Yeah, no kidding. Or Garfield from the Sega channel.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's some of our recommended PS3 titles with the upcoming shutdown of the store. Hopefully the systems will be kept alive for a while. Emulation is taking big leaps here recently with PlayStation 3. So hopefully that will aid in the preservation of a lot of these games. So if you can't get the hardware, this might be like the best way for you to be able to play them in the future. So once again, emulation is preservation. So
Yahar.
Yahar indeed. All right. Oh man, well that was a packed and fun episode talking about a bunch of stuff. This has been episode 229 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network podcast. If you're watching the video version of this and you'd like to listen to the show, we have the audio version available wherever you find your podcasts. Just search for Zenspath Entertainment Network and you'll find us there. Leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your shows. And then let us know over on our Discord where you left those reviews because we don't get to see them that often. And it would be great to be able to share a couple good reviews from people. Or if you don't like it, let us know so we can at least, consider changes or see what's going on. If you're listening to this and you'd like to watch the video version of it and see all of Steven's cats as they wander in, including the one we're showing off now, that cat's adorable. He does not like being held like that. You can find the video version over at youtube.com/ZenspathCom. It's like zenspath.com without the period. Leave us a thumbs up, subscribe so you can get the episodes as they come out. Leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts on the big question. What are your recommended PS3 games for those people in the future that will be starting off new when they discover PS3 or emulation at some point? You can also find all of our stuff at zenspath.com, including the links to our Discord, which is free to join, where you can talk with myself, Steven, Chase, and everybody else over there about your favorite games, movies, comic books, toys, 3D printing, all kinds of things that we talk about just for the heck of it, or we get together just to play some multiplayer with people. Different games all the time. All right, I've been your host, Jeremy Powers, joined once again by Steven for episode 229, and we're out. Peace.
Crocs.
Not even once. This has been a production of the Zenspath Entertainment Network podcast by the staff at zenspath.com. The show is created and edited by Jeremy Powers. You can find the video edition of the show on our YouTube channel at ZenspathCom. The audio edition is located wherever you find your podcasts. Links to all versions of the show, as well as to our Discord where you can talk with us directly, is located at www.zenspath.com. Please leave us a like, thumbs up, comment, and review where you can to help us grow.